The quad box going tonight, gentlemen, for a very special episode. We have John, the mouth of the South from Downtown Sports, joining us. We have Big Ray, it's his birthday tomorrow, and Mike Storey, who's working on something very, very. It must be important. It must be what porn he's going to watch later tonight. Anyways.
Oh no, I'm just reviewing X to see what the comments are on the last play of the Ole Miss Miami game. I'm sure some people in the comments have some thoughts. I do myself, but that is not the crux of this show, is it not?
Rob, I think you meant to say he's like Adam Schefter, he's just like looking at he's getting his own info for us.
He's tweeting that mouth. That was your first fantasy postseason draft. What'd you think?
That was completely insane, and I'm mad at you and Storey for quite a number of things.
Oh, I can't wait to hear
it. Player sniping. I'm looking at players, and all of a sudden, drafted by professional fanatics. The player I'm looking at.
Professional is in the name. I thought we gave you a heads up.
Yeah,
damn straight. Well. Okay, so here's the format. We're gonna go through each team, give them a grade 1 through 10. We're gonna start with the 10th pick, which is Mouth, and go 10, 9, 8, all the way down to 1.
Wait, Rob,
and then if we're reviewing our own teams, we're reviewing our own teams, there's no, we can't talk. So if it's me and Storey's team, we can't talk until the end. So we're gonna start this off, kick this off here with Mouth's team. So this is full PPR. It's 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a flex, tight end, kicker, and defense, 6 bench spots. Fantasypostseason.com. So essentially, when the team is eliminated, your player is eliminated as well. So sorry, it's not the best image here. I just took a picture of it since we were a little crunched on time. So first team, I'm gonna read through here, and I'm gonna get Ray's opinion first in this team. So this is Mouth's team. Christian McCaffrey, Caleb Williams, RJ Harvey, Jacoby Myers, Jordan Love. So he's got Caleb and Jordan Love at quarterback, Jalen Warren, Jaden Higgins, Ricky Pearsall, Gatson, Mac Jones, Dicker, Kendrick Bourne, Jawar Jordan, Christian Kirk, and then Carolina's defense. Mac Jones also in there at the 10th round. It might have been a whoopsie. So what do you guys think? Ray, what do you think about this team? Christian McCaffrey is obviously, if he plays 3 games, then he's probably winning this league.
Yeah, so, the way that you have your team laying out, Mouth, is that I would say that I like them. I like Rob said, I like the CMC pick because at this point, I think with that they're getting healthier. And right now, Purdy is playing very well, and especially we know that Kyle Shanahan is very good at getting all the way to the big game, maybe just not winning it. And like Rob said, if you're able to get, especially because you got Ricky Pearsall as well in there, and if let's say Purdy gets hurt, then all of a sudden you got. I'm just saying, I know you didn't want to pick Mac Jones. You did tell us that in the back channel, but I'm just saying, he got hurt this year. He is injury prone. All it takes is one bad thing, and Mac Jones showed that he could do that. So I'm just saying, either way though, with at least the 2 guys you got, I feel like the 49ers are one of those underlying good teams that could make a decent run to the Super Bowl. And then Caleb Williams, of course, I'm a big Bears fan. I know they have the 2nd seed. I think at this point, it'll really determine. I know you have Jordan Love too. I think it'll really determine this game, like what happens on Saturday night. That's going to be a big tell for either way for your quarterbacks. Unfortunately, I really, when I say that, I really just want Caleb to do well, and I think he will. But on top of that, with your receivers, you got Jacoby Myers, which I like the Jaguars make a deep run. Trying to see here, Jane Higgins. I wanted Jane Higgins as well because I think he was a 2nd round pick for them, and I think that Houston has a great. We all know they have a great D. I think they're one of the line teams. So, Mouth, I think you were like me. I think we're gonna hate on our teams more than we think, but.
I think Storey, what are your favorite couple picks here? And give me a couple spots where he maybe fell
for sure. Like you said, Rob, Mouth, things break right. You've got a really strong chance at placing here, if not taking it outright, and it hinges on Christian McCaffrey. He's obviously not Christian McCaffrey from 2019, but he's been such an asset in fantasy football this year. The things I'm not too thrilled about are the Williams Love pick. Obviously, you're guaranteed to get 2 games out of one of the quarterbacks, but you run the risk of one of those guys, of starting one of them. It's the wrong guy this week, right? Where he ends up flopping, and then you got a guy coming in next week. Also, your onesie positions, Gadsden could be a one and done. Carolina, one and done. I think most people are thinking that. Cameron Dicker could be a one and done. So you're going to need to be diligent on the waiver wire. I mean, you got to hope some kicker.
Well, there's nobody available. There's no one really available.
Keep in mind the Buffalo situation, right? Matt Prater's not going to play, so maybe they sign somebody and he doesn't work out, so you get somebody in the divisional round. But yeah, you've got an opportunity. You need an upset with Pittsburgh here. You need Houston to make a deep run, and then you've got some contingencies like Ray said with Mac Jones. If Purdy gets hurt, and he's known to get hurt, you do got a strong opportunity to make a really good run here. So I think that this is a pretty solid draft on your part.
What is your guys' grade before we get to Mouth's take on his team? I'm going to give this one a 7 just because I'm worried about the onesies or the positions you can't replace. I know it's not cool to have Kyle Juszczyk, for instance, as a waiver wire guy, but at least it's a body. There's no bodies in kicker and defense. So Carolina is all but certainly playing one game. Cameron Dicker, I have more hope for, but the Gatson thing, tight end, you can replace about the tight end thing. But,
yeah,
that's my word there.
And you and I talked about this, Rob. The tight end is so deep. You look at any tight end could stumble into the end zone. You look at the guys on Los Angeles, for example, or Pittsburgh, for example. So I'm going to give this a 6.75. I think it's a really solid draft. You do need some things to break right for you to win the thing, but I think you got a really good chance at placing here.
Ray?
I was going to give it a 7-1 just only because I'll just give it the Bears hope that, we'll just say that if Caleb Williams makes a run to the NFC, the Bears make a run the NFC Championship. I mean, I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but they can and maybe could. And if that is the fact, then all of a sudden, Mouth, then you're gonna have that. If they get Mouth, here's the thing: if that happens, that's gonna be because of Caleb Williams. So that's gonna be a lot of points coming your way. So,
Mouth, who are you starting week 1, Love or Caleb? And your thought process was to guarantee yourself a quarterback in the second round, I'm guessing.
Yep. So I'll give you my thoughts immediately. Yeah, Mac Jones was definitely an oopsie. That was supposed to be Carlos Santos. So that completely took everything from that point in the draft on. Plan had to change up. Everything had to move around. But yeah, Caleb Williams was me having to guarantee myself a quarterback. Just taking Jordan Love was that was the last, other starter that was left on the board at that point. And I figured, okay, might as well take him, split the difference to have a quarterback guaranteed going into the second week. That was basically it.
So what are your favorite picks? Not talking about McCaffrey, because obviously that's a big wild card. I mean, he's going to be awesome, but it's how many games you get. Give me some of your favorite picks, and obviously the Mac Jones, the pick that you would do over. But give me your 2 favorite picks that you think that could swing it in your favor and get top 3.
Well, here's the thing. CMC falling to me was shocking as hell. I can't believe that nobody thinks that, other than me, that San Francisco is beating Philly. I have no idea why nobody thinks San Fran is beating Philly. So that's obviously the only reason CMC falls to 10 in a snake draft. So yeah, the fact that I got CMC there, I would say getting RJ Harvey where I got him, he should have never fallen to 30, in my opinion.
Yeah, we were looking at him. Me and Storey were looking at him.
And then getting Jacoby Myers right after that. And then Love falling to 50. The fact that Love was all the way down there, I had to grab him where I got him. So I'd say the first few picks that I actually made were good. I mean, I feel kind of silly. I think Caleb would have fell. The more I saw that quarterbacks were not getting grabbed up and quarterbacks were not getting grabbed up, I feel kind of silly for letting Caleb, for taking Caleb Williams as early as I did. But, snake draft, it was early. I needed to grab a quarterback. I didn't know how things were going to go. Couldn't let myself be without a QB.
Well, yeah, the first 5 picks were all quarterbacks, and then they all kind of fall. What's your grade on your team out of 10, Mouth?
I'm always going to be the most harsh critic of myself. I'd say 6.3.
Okay, so 6.3, 7, 7.1, 7. What did you say, Storey?
7.75. We're all over the place. You've got Rob. You've got whole numbers. Mouth, you and Ray, you're in the tens. I'm in the quarters. We're all over the place.
All right. So how about this? You know what? We're gonna let's just do this. If we're gonna do an out of 10 system instead of point system, whatever, let's just pick whole numbers, right? I give it a 6.
Then I'll give you a 7. I'll round up. I'll give you a 7. Whole number sounds good to me.
All right.
All right, 9th pick. I believe this is Dakota. I'm just checking. This is Dakota, 9th pick. Saquon Barkley at 9, Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, Devonta Smith, Kenneth Gainwell, Denver's defense, Bryce Young, Evan Ingram, Keon Coleman, Tyler Higbee, Kyle Williams, Jaden Reed, Jahan Dotson. Fuck you for taking Jahan Dotson. That was our pick. Brandon McManus and Adam Thielen. So he's got Barkley as a starting running back with Gainwell. Bo Nix is a starting quarterback. He has Bryce Young. That's a nice pairing because he's going to have one game of Bryce Young and then Bo Nix. I kind of like his strategy there. Denver's defense. Does he have a second defense? He does not. So he's going to be not having a defense in the first round. Not the end of the world. Mouth, give me your initial impressions. Best pick, worst pick. Where it went wrong, where it went right.
I mean, I would not have taken Bo Nix at 12. That didn't make much sense. I mean, I guess
why it's nice though is he paired it with a quarterback that's only going to play one game. He got super late in value, so he's going to have a quarterback week 1. In the wild card, he's guaranteed to have a quarterback week 2. That's why he did that, and I don't mind that. Yeah, just because
that's fine. I mean, I just don't. It's just the quarterback that you took at 12. I would have taken Purdy over Bo Nix. But because I feel like at that point, just take Brock Purdy. And then don't worry about let somebody else worry about having Bryce Young give them -4 points. And then to pair with Cortland Sutton at your 3rd pick, that's 2 players that you're not going to see until the 2nd week. I mean, thank God you took Devonta Smith because now you're taking Gainwell and Smith, like you're putting a lot of early draft stock into players that might be gone in 1
His
week.
Team
well,
is
in my
all
opinion,
hinged on Denver. It's all Denver because he has Evan Ingram.
Yeah,
he has Cortland Sutton. He has Bo Nix. So essentially, and the problem with Denver is it's nice to advance the players, already have them in the 2nd round, but you're missing on a week 1 value. So this is a safe team, but if Denver doesn't, they need to go to the AFC Championship to have any chance in this team.
Yeah, they do.
If they get bounced in the 2nd round.
Although I don't see how they don't go. But the thing is, I don't see how they don't go to the AFC Championship though. It makes sense. I mean, that's what I'm banking on with RJ Harvey. So. It sort of makes sense.
And Barkley. So yeah, if it's Denver versus the Eagles in the Super Bowl, he's probably winning this league. It's one of those things where it's a big hit or miss team. He's picking Denver, Philly, and then he's mostly Denver in taking the chance that if even if Philly were to go out to San Francisco, that Philly is going to score him enough week 1 so that, he has enough Denver players to hold him over in week 2. Yeah, this Story,
is actually
what do you like
pretty
about
smart
this team?
drafting.
Do you think this is too aggressive?
Denver and Philly are doing a lot of heavy lifting here, and Dakota, we know his tendencies. He's a big Denver guy. I think he thinks they're going to the Super Bowl. It wouldn't surprise me if he thinks Philly's going to the Super Bowl. So this all-in strategy, I think it's good. He's filling in the pieces here with some guys that could be fill-ins like Higbee, Kyle Williams. You and I looked at him. Jahan Dotson. We've talked about how the Eagles use him quite a bit in the postseason. The thing is, punting on kicker and defense so he's not getting any points out of those 2 positions right off the bat unless you
he's got McManus. He's got McManus, so that McManus isn't on Denver anymore. He used to be on Denver.
That's right. Duh.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got a McManus thing.
Okay. So Green Bay there. So yeah, I mean, like you said, if Philly and Denver end up going to the Super Bowl, I think this is a runaway win for Dakota. I think even if they don't, if they win a couple of games, the thing is, this isn't a format where it's 1 point in the wild card, 1.25 in the divisional, right. 1.5. So in this case, I think it's still a strong contender for placing. If they win between them 3 games, he's going to get a lot of production out of those first 5 out of 6 picks.
This is a Ricky Bobby team right here. It could be last place. And if they just win, like you said, 3 games combined, it'll be in the middle of the pack, if not better. And if they somehow, at least if they both go to the championship games, then he's top 3. And if one goes to the Super Bowl, he's probably winning. If they both go to the Super Bowl, it's not even fucking close. So I do appreciate that. Ray, do you like the strategy?
No, but I want to talk about his team is because this is exactly where Ray fucked myself by picking Aaron Rodgers, because what I texted you was, Mouth, you are equally included, unfortunately, with yourself, because I texted Rob when my pick with it was Rodgers, and then him picking Sutton and Devontae, and that was on the outside of you, Mouth, and then you picked Harvey and Myers. I would have picked Harvey instead of Rodgers. I'm just saying, I'm letting you know, Mouth. And then at that point, I just would have taken whatever receiver would have been left to me between Sutton, Myers, and Devontae. And yeah, so
what's your grade for this
I
team,
feel like his team because dude, honestly, this is my first time doing this type of league of fantasy.
Get your personal out of it, Ray, and put your analyst hat on. You see the analyst hat?
No, I'm saying there's no personal out of it. It's just I'm saying I like his team because I'm saying that I've never done this before, but you go in on these teams, and if you guys look at the statistics, there are most of in the last, like, I don't know, I think it was the last decade, usually most 1 to 2 seeds make the finals. At least when I see the conference finals.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, when you stack those
this
teams,
is a pure
you're going
Vegas.
all in or out.
So give me your grade, Ray, out of 10.
I would say, honestly, I would give him like just because it's 0 to 100. I'll just give him like an 8, just because, only because it's based on a lot of teams that he has a lot of people on the same teams, or at least like the same idea of that. Sorry. They're just I just like this team because they have teams that have high upside that will be able to make at least a couple games into the playoffs.
Storey, you think it's risky going on Denver because they have a bye? I know it's nice to have the bye, but like if they lose in the first, like you're not getting the first round, and then you only get one game, essentially, same as Carolina might have.
I mean, you got to go with what you believe. Anything can happen in these playoffs. Carolina could beat Los Angeles, but if you firmly believe that Denver's going to make a run, like I said, if Philly and Denver end up winning 3 games between them, I think that Dakota could win the thing. Certainly place, just because of how stacked he is with it. So it's a strategy. You got to create a narrative and then fill out your team to reflect that narrative.
Give me your grade. You giving him an 8, around an 8 as well, or like an 8.34?
Yeah, so it's an 8 for me. I think this is a really strong team, and I'm not in on Philly and Denver myself, but if it ends up unfolding that way, then good luck for the rest of us.
Mouth, what do you got?
I'm going to say a 9 purely from a fantasy draft building sense for the format that we're in. Think of it, take away ball knowledge, right? Take ball knowledge away. And think of this purely as a gamer strategy person, right? The main point of the game is to have as many players playing in it as possible for as long as possible. You've achieved this with this build, being as Philly is a strong contender the first week, even if they get eliminated. Denver, week 2, you have a quarterback, you have receivers, you have a tight end going with Ingram. Higbee should make it to the second round as well. He has contingency plans upon contingency plans in this roster. Yeah, this is a strong roster. He's got strong Philly going in week 1. Week 2, he's got strong Denver. With any luck, one of those 2 teams should win a home game in the postseason. And you're going off Vegas projections. This is probably the smartest way to build a playoff fantasy team. Give it a 9 based upon draft.
I'm going to give it a 4 or a 10. So it's weird because here's my issue. Keon Coleman pick. Keon Coleman is probably going to be inactive. I mean, would it surprise you if he doesn't play round 1? Like, we don't know about Keon Coleman, the whole Buffalo receiving core. Only one I know about is Khalil Shakir, honestly, and the tight ends. So what, Ray?
I'm just saying, not at all. It would not surprise me at all.
So that's an issue.
I'm purposely muting myself. Just be like, no, I'm agree with you. Like that.
And then Denver is just risky because you're missing the first round, and if they do get bounced and they play one game, this team's dead in the water. So it's a Ricky Bobby team. I appreciate it. I'm saying it's a 4 or a 10. It could be a 10, and this is a team that is not. We can't compete with Storey.
How about a 6.5?
If one of these two teams go to the Super Bowl,
yeah,
that they're.
So I'm saying, how about 6.5 then? I'm saying no. It's literally like right.
Yeah, 6.5.
And
no, I'm gonna give them. I'm gonna give 7.5 because I do like the strategy. I like the aggressive strategy.
Yeah,
there.
in terms of pure and utter strategy and gameplay, you have to give it in terms of gameplay. Like if you look at the way playoff fantasy and especially the league is structured, like if you were to have like a sheet of like this is how technically you're supposed to do it, that's the team you build.
I do appreciate that part. All right, moving on to Ray's team here. Ray, we're gonna go through your team, and I know you were had some issue with your Aaron Rodgers pick.
Hey, you ever accidentally masturbate to young pictures of your mom?
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Okay, Ray had the 8th pick, so let's go through his squad here. Jalen Hurts at 8, Kyren Williams at 13. I like that pick. Aaron Rodgers at 28 was his little boo-boo. Kenneth Walker at 33, the Tiny Dancer. Troy Franklin, 48. Ladd McConkey, Dalton Kincaid, Seattle's defense. Shaheed, love the Shaheed pick. Jake Elliott, Marvin Mims, Tank Bigsby, Brandon Cooks, Buffalo's defense, Austin Hooper. Storey, give me your takeaways. I just want to say one thing. We both commented on the Troy Franklin pick as being questionable because we got Pat Bryant like 6 rounds later.
Yeah, I think those two picks, the Franklin McConkey pick, I think you might have been shook a little bit there, Ray. I'm not sure that you meant to go Franklin over Pat Bryant, but and then McConkey, even if Los Angeles moves on, and I'm not sure they will, that whole team that offense has been just, I don't want to say horrific, but they've been really bad since Joe Alt went down, and McConkey's been a big disappointment. But that said, I think you've got a really solid foundation with Kyren Williams and Kenneth Walker there. I think one of those two guys is going to the Super Bowl. So that's my personal opinion. So I think you're pretty set up there. Again, I'm not big on the Eagles.
And Shaheed there. That's a nice pick.
But we had talked about, right, Rob, you and I talked about Dalton.
And Seattle's
really solid play there. I think Buffalo could make a big run there. Brandon Cooks is a nice ancillary piece. So I don't think this is as bad as you think it is, Ray. Obviously, having Aaron Rodgers in the third is not ideal, but you certainly made up for it with Walker right behind there and then Dalton Kincaid and Seattle's defense. So if you feel that Seattle's going to the Super Bowl, this is a strong team. I'm going to give this one I know we said whole numbers, but I'm going to give it a solid 6.5 to 7. I think you're in a good range. You need some things to break right for you, but you've got some backup pieces there as well.
Mouth, what do you got?
Okay. You know where I feel about Seattle and San Francisco and the Rams, which is why I personally don't like the team. However, you can't deny that quite a number of these players are going to go deep into the postseason. So here's where I do like the team. Ray, you and I are in a fight because I didn't realize that it was you that grabbed Ladd McConkey, you jerk. I was going to go there myself. I was also going to try to grab Rashid Shaheed. You see, because the thing is, when I looked at playoff fantasy, I realized it isn't just, pick who's going to win the Super Bowl. No. It's who's getting to the championship games as well. Because, it's cool to have players that are going to be in the Super Bowl, but, having ancillary pieces that are going to be in championship games also helps. So you did a good job of diversifying your stock and having enough starters as to you'll be able to put together a starting lineup in the Super Bowl round, but you're going to be able to put together a starting lineup in every round.
Yeah, it's a very safe team. It's a very safe team.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're going to be able to put together a starting lineup in just about every round, unless crazy stuff happens in the postseason. Well, which is pretty much my prediction of crazy stuff happening in the postseason. So if my team does well, this team is going to end up being last. It's a well-built team. I'd give it a 6.5 to a 7. because I'll always
Yeah.
rate my team lower. I always feel like, I screwed up the world. But you better start Aaron Rodgers if you drafted him where you drafted him. It's like the universe put him on your team because he's going to score 40 points in the first game.
All right, Ray, give us your takeaways. I think it's a very safe team. Now, unfortunately, it looks like it could be a 4th or 5th place team, which isn't terrible, but that's not in the money. And I guess who knows? I like the stock you have on Kyron Williams and Kenneth Walker. You have a lot of Seahawks stock. So this is similar to the last team, not quite as top heavy, but if the Seahawks do go to the Super Bowl, you're gonna probably be in the money.
So to be perfectly honest, like I said before, my team would be different because if I didn't draft Rodgers, I would have drafted. I'm pretty confident I would have drafted RJ Harvey, which I mean, you guys. I mean, I don't know if that would have been better over Kenneth Walker, which you guys said you guys liked. So I mean, I don't know, because Rob knows I hit him in the one league full PPR. He did well for me, very well, as a matter of fact. So that's why I just figured. And Kyron Williams helped me win my one league that I won fantasy. In my other league that I won third, that I made my money back, which is my highest money league. So in general, I'll just say that with my team, obviously, I think you guys laid it out very, very well and articulately. That's basically what I did after I fucked up on that Rodgers pick, and I realized that's what happened. I want safe with teams that I feel like have the best chances. I have the highest upside to get to at least to make the highest win. The win. Basically, I want the perfect right triangle. You know what I mean? Like, I want some teams to be able to hit a couple, even just one. At this point, it's maybe a couple be one win, and then just have basically, honestly, after looking at everybody's team, which I'm fine with this. Like, Rob, I want to do this more again in the future. I know I fucked up on that pick, and I'm very upset about it. But overall, just looking at everything, I love this. That the fact that everybody just honestly just picks on the team that they really want to literally hitch their wagon on, and at that point, whatever team gets, because this is the perfect time in the entire NFL. All you guys are older than me. I'll be 35 tomorrow. I can never remember a time in my entire life that I can honestly remember that it was like a total like toss up. Just like that. Honestly, guys, if the four of us put together $1,000, so we put down $4,000 this year, we could not be confident. We would never come to an agreement to be like, oh yeah, we'll put that $4,000 and win whatever the odds are for those four teams, at least to make the championship games. For my entire life, up until I would say maybe the last 5 years ish, maybe like 2 or 3 years, we could do that and we would all win money, a lot of it, because I'm saying all these quarterbacks. It's very different now.
All right, hey, sorry, Ray. I gotta cut you off. We're still on the 8th team.
We need a grade, bro.
I'm gonna give it a 6. I'm gonna give it a 5.5 just because I feel like it's too safe. And I just don't know if there's a path for it to win outside of Seattle going to the Super Bowl. That's probably the only path that has space. But it's not going to be last. It's not going to be last. It's not going to last. There's no chance this team bombs. But like, there's no playoffs in this. It's total points. That's my concern. So Ray, what is your grade for your team?
6 or 7. I'll just leave it at that. Maybe. All
right, next team. Jonathan's team. This is a JSN. This is also a heavy Seahawks team. So I'm anxious to look at this one. JSN at 7, Darnold at 14, then Stevenson, Woody Marks. God damn, we wanted Woody Marks. Brian Thomas, Brendan Strange, Jacksonville, Boregalis, Chicago, Davis Mills, Jalen Coker, Pat Freiermuth, Hutchinson, Jonnu Smith, Marquez Valdez, Scantling. So he's going to be missing some games early on with his top 2 picks. But again, this is a big bet on Seattle. Does he have any other Seattle players? It looks like
no, but
those
Jacksonville. So this is another drafter who understood the assignment. What's the narrative? I think Seattle and Jacksonville are going to the Super Bowl, and I'm going all in the top-tier players here. Also, Stevenson. We had debated between Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. We ended up going with Henderson. I think that's a really good pick. I think New England can make a deep run. So Borregales as a kicker, I think, is very solid there. Chicago's defense, I'm not sold on. I think Chicago's a one and done personally, and that's coming from a Bears fan. And there's some ancillary pieces here. I like this team. I like this team a lot. I think, I'm in on the Rams this year, but Seattle could certainly make the run. They've got the defense to do it. And if they get there, it's going to be on the backs of the defense, Sam Darnold and Jackson Smith and Jibba. It's such a narrow target tree. Same thing with Jacksonville. I would have rather seen Parker Washington than Brian Thomas, but I really like that Brenton Strange pick right there, and I like their defense. I'm going to give this an 8. I really like this team.
Here's what we're not realizing is he took Davis Mills in 10, and he doesn't have a quarterback the first round. And I'm telling you, those are points you can't make up because if he had Bryce Young on this team, for instance, I know Bryce Young sucks, but he can get you 15 points. Those 15 points will come back to haunt you if everything doesn't break right. I will say this. The Woody Marks pick is probably the pick of the draft because I just think that Houston's going to stomp, and they're at least going to win. They're going to play 2 games, which is valuable. Running back is so thin. So the fact you have Stevenson, Woody Marks, I like that a lot. Other than that, you have no other running backs. Am I correct there? No other running backs. So the running backs are thin, and then the quarterback, you only have one quarterback, and you're missing the week 1 quarterback. But other than that, if Jacksonville and Seattle goes far, you're similar situation to the 9th team, 9th pick. Like it's going to be hard to beat you because Darnold and JSN are just a nice pair there.
I like the idea. I like the idea of picking which teams are going to the Super Bowl. You understood that part of the assignment. The part of the assignment that you didn't understand was making sure that you had enough running backs and quarterbacks to go around. I might be short on onesie positions, but being short on tight end, okay, great. Being short of defense, fine. I'd rather be short of defense and a tight end than be short quarterbacks and running backs. So just to be quick about it, because I agree with everything that you guys said about how to build the team in terms of picking where, players go. Yeah, you got great wideout. I think running backs are a premium in playoff. That's the one thing I noticed. You did good getting your top 2, but after that, you're thin. You're stacked at wideout, but what are you stacked with? That's the question. Outside of JSN, yeah, but outside of JSN, what do you got? Outside, Coker, but is he going to start Coker or is he going to start BTJ? That's the question. I'm not giving him advice on that. So 5. I give him a 5. I'm not sure he's going to survive I'm not sure he's going to survive the being 8th place in week 1.
Now, if the Steelers make a run here, because he's got Freiermuth, Johnny Smith, and Marquez Valdez-Scantling, which is kind of questionable because he doesn't really need them week 1. So it's like, I don't know why you're taking guys that you might not need, right? Like, what are you going to get? You're not going to have them round 2, so what's the points? If they do beat Houston, now you're looking at having Freiermuth or, Freiermuth and Johnny or those guys tight end and flex or one of those in your flex.
Unless that's his pick. Unless he honestly thinks that, they're going
to win a game.
Because that would make sense. He only took Woody Marks.
Yeah, he dropped Davis Mills, by the way. So that was one of those whoopsie picks. So, Ray, what is your grade for this team?
Better than mine. So, 7.5.
That's the best answer ever. Just better than mine. Story,
did you give a grade? Than yours.
Yeah, I give it an 8. Listen, so here's the thing about these grades. I'm gonna have to base this. I can't predict the future for these playoffs, so I'm gonna base it based on the game theory, the strategy, the team makeup, right? Because I can sit here and say I think the Rams are going to the Super Bowl. This guy's got very few Rams, no Rams, I don't think, right, Jonathan? Correct me if I'm wrong. So if I think
Story, I'm sorry to cut you off. I have so many Seattle. That's the only reason I said that.
Well, no, that his team got auto drafted the second half, so that makes sense. Davis Mills and
Atwell has been a non-factor. Yeah. So I think, he's got no Rams. So the Rams are going to play 4 games, I think. So if I base it on that, then I'd give this a 4. But I got to base it off of the overall strategy here. So for me, that's an 8. This is an 8. I think this mix is good to get points in those weeks leading up to it. And if Seattle and Jacksonville go to the Super Bowl, which again, I'm assuming here, then this would be an easy place team for me.
Another Ricky Bobby team. Okay, moving on to number 6. This is Derek, Mr. Free Throw, Let's take a look at his team. Puka, 6 overall. I love that. Puka, CJ Stroud, Metcalf, Hampton, Herbert, Dowdle, Parkinson, Kupp, Lutz, Hubbard, Brian Robinson Jr., Zacchaeus, Emmanuel Wilson, Green Bay's defense, Ryan Fitzgerald. I love this fucking team. Just first glance, the CJ Stroud thing, that was a guy I was targeting. If we weren't going to go quarterback at number 1, I wanted him to fall to us at 20. Glad we did that because he wasn't going to fall. I liked the Metcalf's, I guess, maybe the problem there, just because he might only get 1 game. But if Hampton's healthy, that's a big question, right? Because Hampton's injured, not practicing. But he needs the Chargers to win a game. And then he has Hampton and Herbert, Puka, Stroud. You're going to get some value from Dowdle for a week. Parkinson's nice. Kupp's nice. Lutz is nice. So he's got some guys to come in for the, second and third round. Mouth, what do you think?
I think that this was the team that I was really mad at for going. There was a couple of people I was mad at. You are one of them. Because I wanted Amari and Hampton, you took them. I wanted Justin Herbert. You took them. I wanted Brian Robinson Jr. You took them. So because I'm mad at you, I think this team is good. Stroud, and I wouldn't have taken Stroud so early, but the fact that Herbert came back around, I'm surprised Herbert didn't go around the same place that CJ Stroud did, but you came back around and corrected your mistake.
5th round for Herbert's crazy late, though, dude. That's crazy. I mean, he doesn't need him because he has Stroud, but he probably starts Herbert week 1 and then Stroud for the back end.
That's my problem. That's my problem with this team is why you taking a quarterback in the 5th. Like you got to make a stand here, and you're hedging your bets on the AFC. I could see taking a quarterback in the NFC if you go Stroud that early, but for me, that really dings this team a lot because that 5th round pick is pretty valuable in this format. Plus the Hampton injury, you're stacking those two together. I'm not a huge fan of this team, just the makeup of it. You got some stuff on the other side, on the NFC side, the Green Bay. It seems like a lot of hedging. And I just not a huge, like the Parkinson Kupp situation, not a huge fan of the makeup of this team. I did like Brian Robinson. That seems like a really good late round pick. He does get some run there, and they could make a deep play into the playoffs.
Green Bay's defense in the 14th round is
spicy.
Yeah,
that is spicy as hell. My whole thing was, the reason I was mad is because I was looking to grab Brian Robinson. At that point, I kind of wanted Brian Robinson Jr. from my squad, so I'm a little mad there. Once you took Omari and Hampton, I immediately shifted focus and went, oh, Justin Herbert's there. I could just grab him. Nope. So then I had to go grab Jordan Love and then Jalen Warren. So this was one of the teams that, made me kind of switch up my focus a bit and have to, pivot a bit off of what I was doing. So, when you're hedging bets on quarterbacks, the reason I hedged Love and Caleb is because I believe whatever quarterback wins that game will end up in the NFC Championship game. So I'm kind of guaranteeing myself a couple of games out of that quarterback.
Sorry, I just threw up a in my mouth.
Yeah, sorry.
I like his roster construction, though, because what he did with Fitzgerald is
Story.
Lots. I like that. I like the way he built this team. This is a better version of Ray, a little bit better, like more upside version of Ray's team because it's very safe. I feel like this team will not get 10th, 9th, 8th, or 7th. It's going to be relevant until the end. And there's not really a team, though, that's going to, like the other teams that hedged on Denver and had all their eggs in the basket. There's no team that this team really is going in. So it has.
And also, if the Rams if the Rams make the Super Bowl, he wins because Puka.
And Parkinson, yeah. Well, we might win. But Ray, what is your grade? Real quick, guys, we're going to get to every comment here after we get done with the grades. Me and Storey are going to go through. We're going to get Storey's playoff predictions and answer all your comments. So just be patient with us. Ray, what is your grade for this team?
Yeah, I would probably just give the same as mine, probably 7. Just because.
Storey, did you say you had a grade?
Yeah, I'm giving it a 5. It just feels very middle of the road to me. I'm in particular that quarterback, that 2 high draft picks on quarterbacks in the same conference in a playoff format don't make sense to me. I'm giving it a 5.
Justin Herbert wasn't that high of a draft pick. It was a 5th round. It's
5th round pick, and like you already
great value.
Yes, but
so we had a 6 from Ray or 7? 7 from Ray, 5 from Storey, and what do you have, Mouth?
I have a 5 as well. I don't like the more I'm looking at the later round draft picks, the more I don't like what they did. I think it took Lutz too early.
I'm going to go 6.5 because I am very confident this team's going to advance one, maybe two quarterbacks. And if the Chargers win, this team is dangerous because you're going to have Hampton and Herbert. And then you get some points from Dowdle and Parkinson and Cup. I like those picks. Will Lutz. All right, moving on to the next team here. We got the 5th spot. That is going to be GT, my boy GT. We have James Cook at the 5th pick, Devontae Adams, Brock Purdy, Kyle Monangai, Dallas Goedert, Luther Burden, Keenan Allen, Jason Myers, Chris Boswell, Tootin, Pittsburgh, Wicks, Tungus, Will Dissly, and Ray Davis. That Brock Purdy pick is standing out as a very good pick to me.
That Brock Purdy pick is the exact reason I drafted Caleb Williams where I drafted him, because I knew I wasn't going to get Purdy coming back around. The only issue I have is Bill, Ram, 49er, Bear, Eagle, Bear, Charger, Seahawk, kicker, Pittsburgh kicker, Jaguar, Pittsburgh, Packer, 49er, Charger, Bill. There is no cohesion to what player makes the Super Bowl. There's literally no cohesion here. This is the definition of I'm trying to build a team that's safe, but there's no upside to place. I'm giving this team a 3.
Whoa! All right, for this one.
No offense. It looked like a smart strategy, but to me, it's like I'm gonna be 5th place, and I'm gonna be 5th place, and there's no. It's like you're either gonna try to win or be first. If you're gonna try to do something like this, either be first or be last or be nothing. Like, don't be like, oh, if I stay at 5th place and everybody else busts, then I'll win. No, that's not how you win in fantasy. At least that's what I'm learning.
You agree, Ray?
No, I wouldn't say. Mouth.
I like the
3.
players.
I would say 3 is a little low. I would say, because here's the thing. I think that with his top 3 players, that's a very nice base because none of those players have a bye, and at that point, with Purdy, that because we have 6 rushing touchdown, right? And passing.
Everything's touchdown 6.
Yeah, that's his top 7 actually. His top 7 picks don't have buys.
Well, there you go. But
he's gonna compile points for sure.
But here, so I'm saying, so at least with his top 3 picks, because those guys are his heavy hitters, I really like those because James Cook was one of the top. If he was the top rushing guy?
Yeah, he led the league in rushing this year.
Yeah, so you got that.
Yes, he did.
Devontae Adams, he helped me win my money back at least because he didn't help me in the playoffs for that league, but he helped me get all the way to that point. And he's right now he's a red zone god. Purdy, wow, he's absolutely turning it up. He's very healthy. That 49ers offense is looking healthy. And then with Monangai, here's the thing with the rest of his team. I'll just say this: if the Bears and the from the looks of it, especially the Bears win and the Eagles win, because here's the thing: Goddard is a touchdown magnet. So if they keep winning and make a run that I need them to do, and the Bears that I want them to do with the rest of his top teams, which the Bears will have to run into one of those teams early, but either way, I like his team. I would give it I would still give it I'll give it just above mine, just because he has more heavy hitters. They can give up front a good base. I'll give it a 7, 8, 7, 9.
Storey?
Yeah, I'm torn on this one specifically because I've espoused my playoff theory in building a roster, but I like the players on this team. I like the fact you've got one player that has a bye and everybody else is playing at A lot of these players are going to be playing multiple games. You've only got one kicker, and you've got Boswell to back that up. I like the value on some of the guys you got, in particular Purdy, Adams, Goddard, Burden. So I'm really torn here because this one feels like he could just brute force points and force himself into a playoff, or not a playoff, a payoff spot. So I am a little higher on this one than Mouth. I'm going to go against what I've been saying the last couple, but I'm going to give this a 6.5. I think this one is going to, it's just out of sheer numbers, just because he's going to have plenty of guys to fill in each week.
I'm going to give it a 6, and I'll say this. I think this team could get third place, but I don't see there's no world this team can get first place because, he's going to get value if Cook goes to the Super Bowl, but guys have more heavy bills. Everyone has more heavy Rams. Everyone has more heavy, not, you know what I'm saying? So, like, he won't be able to beat out the elite teams that have the guys that advance, but I like the roster construction. I do like that.
What if it's Bills versus 49ers and he has Cook and Purdy in there?
That's just two guys, though. You know what I'm saying? There's going to be teams that have
quarterback
more,
and number one rusher. I get that, but I'm just saying.
Well,
yeah, no, that's hope.
Hold on. I'm gonna say this. If it's Bills 49ers, that might be his one way. Because if you take a look at pick 125 in his draft, he has Jake Tongas. And even with Kittle in there, Tonga scores touchdowns.
Oh,
yeah, this team's going to be doing really well the first week, and maybe
with 6 points per passing touchdown. That is a boon for Brock Purdy.
Yeah, that's good.
All right, we got Jason's team over here, the Schwads. Let's see what he's got here. Trevor Lawrence at 4, fourth pick. Trevor Lawrence, AJ Brown, Zach Charbonnet, Blake Corum, Parker Washington, Colson Loveland, Quentin Johnson, Cam Little, Philly, Nick Chubb, Calvin Austin, Matthew Golden, Cole Kmet, Los Angeles. That would be the Chargers defense. And Tucker Kraft. That's a nice bench piece. He's not playing this year, but again, morale purposes. Storey, give me your takeaway on this team. This seems like a smorgasbord of randomness.
It is a little bit, but there's a couple of Chargers in there that I like. I like the value on Quentin Johnson in there. Sorry, not a couple of Chargers, a couple of Jaguars. I love that Parker Washington pick. I love the value on that. Mouth, I don't know why you're so high on Brian Thomas. Like, Parker Washington has become the go-to guy outside of Jacoby Myers in that offense. So I love that pairing with Lawrence. This is a Jacksonville heavy. You got
why I'm not high on Brian Thomas. I don't know what no.
I must have misheard you earlier when
no, I was not high on him.
Okay, I apologize.
No,
I misheard it.
Thank you.
You must have been saying
Thank you, Brian. Thank you. Brian Thomas almost ruined. Brian Thomas was single-handedly responsible for ruining my fantasy season. So no.
Good.
So he's pretty high on the Jaguars with Lawrence and Parker Washington, and he's got Cam Little. That's nice. So the Jaguars go far. He'll do well. AJ Brown was a nice pick at 17.
Rob, we know though. That's his Florida love.
Philly's defense. AJ Brown. This one. I liked it. I like this one quite a bit, and that Blake Corum pick seems high, but I think it's going to be returning a lot of value down the stretch. So I'm going to give this a 7.5. This is a really solid team from Jason.
Ray, what do you got?
So I'll say this is that him and I, we mirror a lot of ourselves. It doesn't seem like, I don't know if it seems like to you guys, but it does to me, to where I feel as if that, well, first off, he has AJ Brown, so I want AJ Brown to do well, but I'm saying just the rest of the team, because I have Kyron Williams and Tiny Dancer. So I'm just saying,
so he's got the opposites there.
Right. So I'm saying, like,
there's upside here with the Jaguars stack.
No, I would say like sorry, what did you give it? 7.5? Yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at 7. I mean, I keep saying this because the way I look at my team, like I said, I did go safe, but I feel like a lot of these teams, they're a lot like mine. Just like it's either like, that's what I'm saying. It's like I'll either just get like 10th, or I'll be 3, or I could win. I'm saying like that, and I think Jason's the same type of team. And I don't know the other team I said that was even with mine, but
Mouth, what do you think?
Mouth, yeah, Mouth. I think yours. Anyway, go on.
I like the construction of this team. I actually really do. And it's weird why I would like it. But, it takes pieces from multiple teams that should be moving on. Jacksonville should make a deep run. A lot of people are picking Jacksonville to go to the Super Bowl. So grabbing Trevor Lawrence makes a lot of sense. Charbonnet's been the goal line back in Seattle, although I think they've been doing this all season long to save Kenneth Walker for the playoffs, but that's just my personal opinion. But can't argue with the usage for Charbonnet. Taking Loveland and Kmet was smart. Taking both Bears tight ends were smart. Getting Quentin Johnston as low as you did, that was another Jason. Yeah. I couldn't get a single Chargers wide receiver. I wanted at least one part of that wide receiver core. Could not get my hands on any of them. Getting Golden as low as you did was great, 12th round. Getting the Chargers defense in the 14th round was sick. 7. Good team.
Well, I'm going to give it
Well
a 6
built.
just because you don't have any other running backs. The other running back he has in his roster is Nick Chubb. So I'm very confident that Blake Corum's going to be playing 2 or 3 games, and then Charbonnet has the bye. But like week 1, he's missing a running back essentially, and that will come back to haunt you if you lose those points. So I'm going to go 6. I do like it. He's got it really is tied to Jacksonville, but like if Jacksonville loses to the Bills, he's out. Like he's out.
Well, Chubb's going to be playing games and running on the goal line too.
So Rob and I had
Maybe
this conversation now. Chubb has been completely phased out of the offense. He barely played. The only reason he played even 2 weeks ago is because Woody Marks was not a full participant, and then Jawar Jordan got hurt, and it was Dario Gumawale who stepped in. Chubb played 0% of the snaps last week.
I like it. It's just if Jacksonville loses, and the thing is like. Our team, we're going to get to our team in a second. Story. We're tied to the Rams pretty heavily, but like I just don't think the Rams are losing round 1. I don't think it's possible. I know anything's possible. There's a very good chance the Jags lose. They're playing Josh Allen. Let's not forget that. Here's Helen Hunt. Say hello to Helen.
Jesus, come on, man. You're having a nice time tonight.
Bull.
Okay, we are on to the 3rd pick.
Bobby Hill Bull.
MVP Phantoms here. We got Josh Allen, Nico Collins, Josh Jacobs, Roma Dunze, Jawan Jennings, Houston's defense, Kamani Vidal, Dalton Schultz, Pinheiro, Jaleel McLaughlin, Romeo Doubs, Dawson Knox. Dude, Story, I'm looking at this. This is a lot of players that were in our queue, and this motherfucker sniped them all. I love this. I'm going to just give it a 9. I think I'm giving it a 9. I'll look into it in a second. Ray, do you like this team first glance? What do you think? Because I love the start. This is with Josh Allen.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I love the players, dude. Nico, Josh Jacobs, Josh Allen.
All I'm looking at is that, dude, all it takes is two teams to lose in the first round, and he's not as sexy as you want. Now,
is Matt Prater playing? Is Matt Prater the kicker or no?
Matt Prater got hurt. He won't be playing in the playoffs.
Oh, okay. That might change things. So he has Gabe Davis. So he's got a lot of – San Fran's defense with the last pick. I like that.
Hey, Rob, isn't remember called your name Gabe Watt?
Gabe Watt. Also, Romeo Doubs.
New information came out. He came back to practice today. Matt
yeah, dude. So he's heavy on – This is the heaviest Bills team we've had because he's got Allen. He's got Dawson Knox. He's got Prater. He's got Gabe Davis. I like the Houston defensive pick. Roma Dunze is kind of an X factor, but Jawan Jennings, where he got him. Kamani Vidal, like I feel like I like the players.
So Rob,
the
only reason I say this is that I love Josh Allen, obviously, but here's the thing: is that especially with the Roma Dunze and Josh Jacobs, that is 2 major picks that whoever loses that game, you're losing your number 1 receiver and your number 1
number 2
back.
receiver, number 1 running back. I get that. Dalton Schultz was a great pick, though. I think we overlooked that one, dude. We wanted him, Story, 8th round. Like
no. That's
Houston. He's got Houston. He's got Houston. He's got Bills, and they're not going to play each other. They can't play each other in the second round.
I get that, but I'm more talking about that they both could very well lose their first. That's what I was getting at, is that those two teams could lose very well. I mean, this is why.
Yeah. I just think this is a chance to win. This is an aggressive team here.
Oh, no. Wait, I know. To your point, like it is. But that's what I'm saying. If you want a grade, I would give it to a 2. That's not a 2. That's bad. Like, but more like I'm saying a very low, because I'm saying if those teams that I'm talking about lose, he could he'll have nobody, and so he could go down to like a 4. I'll say a 4 or 5, and be upwards of your 9. Like
Storey, what are your thoughts?
So my question is the same question that you had last team, Rob, is where are your RB2 points coming from? He's literally got 3 running backs on the roster here: Jacobs, Kamani Vidal, and Jaleel McLaughlin. And Vidal has been injured. He had that neck problem. Plus, Marion Hampton is the guy there. McLaughlin, we kind of looked at his snap share. He was splitting time with Tyler Day and that the other guy.
Adam Prentice too.
Yeah. So that's a big hole in your roster there. Now I love Josh Allen. Obviously, I think they could go deep. Nico Collins, Roma Dunze, Jennings, love. And then Dubs is a nice hedge to Roma Dunze. Dawson Knox is a nice hedge to Dalton Schultz. I really like the Gabe Davis pick. It was the one guy that I kind of eyeballed. So there's a lot of pieces here that I like, a lot of value here I like, but without an RB2 on this roster, and there's really no way to make it up.
There's no way.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give this a 6.
He needs Josh Jacobs to play 2 games minimum. Like that's the thing. If Josh Jacobs gets eliminated first round, and now he's gonna have Roma Dunze advancing, that's not as important. So that's where this team hedges on. And then obviously, but if this team, if the Bills go to the Super Bowl and Josh Jacobs plays 2 games, I'm not saying 3 or 4, 2 games, this is a top 3 team. Like this is probably a top 2 team. I know it's a lot of stuff,
He's basically picked a Bills-Packers Super Bowl. And just to piss me off, he picked San Francisco in the 15th round at defense because I think he figured out that that's what I was trying to do, so he just sniped him. So good job, MVP, on that. Unfortunately, it's not going to matter when you have no RB2. So that's just how that works out for you. Because you were taking players I wanted all throughout this thing. You took Juwan Jennings when he fell when I was about to grab him. You should have taken running backs instead of trying to block players from other teams when you spent too much time board watching, sir. That was your problem. You started picking players and then you started board watching instead of completing your build.
What is your grade?
That's what I think happened here. So I'd say you're about at a 5.5, bro. You don't have an RB2.
I'm going 7.5. I know it's aggressive with the Josh Jacobs thing, but I don't mind McLaughlin and Kamani Vidal. Vidal, if he advances, you'll be okay. If he doesn't, you need Jacobs for. I'm giving it to. Let's move on to Chaz's team, and then we're gonna get to the winner here. Whoever had the first pick, I forget who that is. It's I forget too. Some studly men. All right, here we go. Chaz's team: Drake May at 2, Stephon Diggs, Swift, Henry, George Kittle, Kayshon Boutte, DJ Moore, New England, Fairbairn, Santos, Demario Douglas, Hunter Renfrow, Xavier Legette, Kyle Juszczyk, and Efton Chisholm. So kind of weird to go 2 tight ends. I think he went way too early tight ends because there's so many tight ends, and like. He's going to flex one of them, obviously.
Was it too early? Because look at his whole team.
So the New England Patriots have arrived.
New England are nothing at this point.
Yeah. Why not?
Okay, so this is aggressive. This is really aggressive. Swift, Hunter Henry.
Their defense sucks, Mouth.
I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that aggressive. I think that's just how the draft fell to him. Honestly, that's how the draft just fell to him at this point. This is New England San Fran with some seasoning thrown in.
Yeah, it's an aggressive team, just with all in on New England, but there's worse teams to go all in on. What is your guys' grade? Real quick, guys. One more team to grade. We have 22 people in here. We're going to answer all your questions. Storey's going to be doing his playoff predictions here after this, so we'll stick around. We'll do another half hour or so. What is your guys' grade? Just give me a number grade.
Yeah, I'm going to go 7.5 on this. I like the New England stack. I do have some concerns about maybe being overstacked, right? Diggs and Boutte and Hunter Henry can't all score on the same play, so you do have some limitation there. But this is a team that he went all in on. I think it's a team that could make a run. And then Swift is a really nice RB1 when you're going to go Drake May, Stephon
Diggs. Who's his other running backs, though? That's the I'm looking at.
Wow. Here we are.
Kyle Juszczyk. He's starting Kyle Juszczyk.
Actually, I'm going to knock this down because I just saw Hunter Renfrow and Xavier Legette. They're not going to crack your roster. Like I know I said that I'm not going to judge based on teams advancing, but come on, Carolina, if they could pass the Rams, like are you going to start those guys in the divisional round? Probably not. They're just literally taking up space.
If the Bears lose, he doesn't have a running back at all. Like not even one.
Yeah.
But the Patriots stack could carry him regardless of no running back. So like this team to even place needs New England to make the Super Bowl.
Well, yeah. Also, like there is not a second running back on this team. So
no, it's Kyle Juszczyk. That's who you got. Who might get you 3
This
points.
is not a this is not a I played the fantasy game strategy team. This is a I know ball and I'm predicting New England to win the Super Bowl team, and let's pray to God everything else works out.
Yeah,
I'm giving it a 5 because I'm giving it a 5 because this completely ignores any and all idea of strategy in playoff fantasy.
Okay, Ray, do you agree?
Yeah, I'm not gonna give it to. I mean, it does because here's the thing: is that like when you do this, at least he picked the right team. Let's just say he did this with even the Bears.
Packers.
To be honest, I'm just saying like even the Bears. I'm just saying to be honest, like I love the Bears. They're my favorite team on any sport, but the Patriots, just based on that conference, is weaker right now.
Yeah, so the running back issue is a major.
No, and the running back issue, dude, Rob. Yeah, that is completely, dude. Like, what the fuck, bro? Like,
this could be a last place team, but this could win even without the running back.
I'm saying, like, what the fuck, dude?
It just needs New England. New England goes to the Super Bowl. Wins.
Remember how I said if you're doing a format,
if the Patriots win the Super Bowl, we are paying this man his money, and he will literally take clips of all of us saying everything we're saying now and just regurgitate it equally until the next literally a year from now. But
remember how I said in a format like this, you either go for it all or end up in last place? This team epitomizes that right to a T.
0 to 100, bro. 0 to 100.
Yeah,
that's what it's going to be.
A 2 or a 10. It's a 2 or a 10, so I'm going to give it a 5.5 just because the running back issue and really going all in on one team. All right, go to our team here.
With a 5. A 5.
Let's go to the leaders.
I'll read it off and then you guys comment. Matt Stafford, Travis Etienne, Travion Henderson, Khalil Shakir, Christian Watson, Ted McMillan, Rams defense, AJ Barner, Harrison Mevis, Pat Bryant, Ty Johnson, Jalen Noel, Will Shipley, Luke Musgrave, and what is it? Mumfield. I don't think there's a wasted pick on this. I'm not trying to be biased, but we had reasoning for all these things. Mouth, what do you think? First impressions.
Not a wasted pick. You were a real.
No, there's no wasted picks, man. Will Shipley.
I'm not going to say sons of bitches. I'm going to call you guys sons of guns because that's what you are. You're sons of guns.
You know, there is no wasted picks. I would agree with that. There isn't one pick that's a waste.
Them either, Mouth. I'm just fucking with them.
However,
so highly of themselves.
However,
I
have one question for you.
Yeah.
I see one quarterback, and that's your number one pick.
Yeah.
Where are the other quarterbacks at?
We don't need another.
I see Will Shipley. I see Mumfield. I see everything. I even see a Christian Watson. I see a Tet. I see a bunch of bench players that are probably okay. I understand that. You could have there had to have been at some point where you're looking at that board and you're thinking to yourself, I could grab something.
No, we could have taken like Bryce Young, but there's no point because Bryce Young's not playing. You know, if Matt Stafford loses in the first round, we're fucked anyway. So that was
true,
our thinking, right? Story.
Yeah, I mean, so
and someone grabbed C.J. Stroud in the second round. So
what am I going to do? What are we going to do with another quarterback? Like this is
even Justin Herbert. Why would we take him?
Right. This is a Rams heavy strategy, and you might be like, oh, but you didn't draft any Rams skill position players. Well, first of all, Adams and Puka went too high, but
agreed.
And your AJ Barner, I think, could carry us deeply until you get to the Super Bowl. They got 4 freaking tight ends that we could rotate through. So they beat Seattle in the conference championship. Now Colby Parkinson, Terrence Ferguson might be healthy by then. Hell, Davis Allen could sneak in a touchdown. So that's what I'm thinking here. And then on the AFC side, I think is a lot more up in the air in terms of which teams are going deeper. So having Jacksonville, Buffalo, having New England all kind of have big pieces there, I think one of those is going to be able to sneak us through. That's the thought process. I like it, but I understand what you're saying, Mel. There is some if you have concerns about needing backups, I understand why this might not appeal to you.
Yeah, that's really the biggest issue I have with this team is that it doesn't have a second quarterback. If you somehow, some way don't get a second game out of Matthew Stafford, which should be impossible. That should be impossible. There should be no way in hell that the Los Angeles Rams lose to the Carolina Panthers. But
yeah,
we're good.
If that happens, then I'm then
that's the idea of what we did.
That's the L.
Then we go to jail peacefully.
And our onesies. And our onesies. Our kicker and defense is both Rams, so it's like that's why we have onesies on all those because now we have Will Shipley, we have Musgrave. By the way, I'm gonna pat myself in the back here. If the Packers win, they play the Seahawks in the next round, so we're gonna have a tight end into the conference finals, guaranteed.
Yes.
That was deep diving shit right there.
You will.
Yeah, our team doesn't have a lot of flash, but I think Ted McMillan in the 6th round as a guy that's going to be just one game and he's going to give us maybe 15 points. We like that we don't have a lot of star power on our team. It's just mostly we need to get enough points in the 1st round because we're going to have the fullest lineup, I feel like, down the road because of our draft picks. Ray, what do you think?
So I like your team. Most importantly because of Stafford who won me your money, Rob. But and more importantly, my many other friends' money. But anyways, I would just say that I love your top 4 picks. Rob knows, and I'm sorry, I assume you know, and Mouth, I would assume you also know. I do love Trayvon Henderson, but Stevenson has just been that major prick in the ass. I feel like it's been, and it just feels like that they might want to really try to lean into that going into the playoffs. But I'm just saying that's the only reason that I have just a little hesitancy. I can't even talk English, but anyways,
me feel English. That's impossible.
Thank you. But anyways, Khalil Shakir, I like him.
These are like right to laugh at you, Ralph. These couldn't cut butter.
Yeah, but either way, the rest of you, here's the thing: with the rest of you, with the bomb last year team, the top 4, exactly. If the Bears and the Panthers win, you guys are going to be sitting damn pretty because you're going to get 2 games at least with Tet and Christian Watson. So I'll give your team an 8.
You give it an 11 out of 10, right, Ray?
Oh, yeah. What do you got? 8 from Ray. What do you got, Mouth?
I have it at a 7, only because even if you manage to lose the Rams in the 1st round, you can survive it because you did take Tet. You took Tet, so you did kind of hedge your bets there. But, the rest of the roster should be able to score enough points to actually, get everything settled up together. You might still be able to place without Matthew Stafford.
Well, think about this.
Maybe an injury or 2 happens.
That's a wild card.
7.
He plays in the wild card. He gets us 20 points or whatever it is, and then we slot in. Then we slot in Pat Bryant, who's on bye in week 1. So think about that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's what I'm saying. The roster construction isn't completely insane. The only thing that scares the living hell out of me is the fact that Matthew Stafford is your 1st overall pick, and that's all well, fine, and good, but there isn't another option behind, and everybody kept taking. I feel like every time you would have taken a quarterback, somebody sniped whatever you wanted.
We went into this knowing we were going to go onesie Rams all over the place in terms of defense, kicker, and quarterback, and not back them up because we're so confident they're playing 2 games minimum, probably 3 games, and possibly 4 games. So I feel like we don't even need Stafford to go to the Super Bowl to win. We just need 3 games out of Stafford. Would you agree, Storey?
Hey, scared money don't make money. And if you're not first,
if
you ain't first, you're last. That's the way I see it.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's I love the roster.
I needed to make sure I got 3 games out of a quarterback. That's what I was drafting for. So if that's what you think you're getting out of Stafford, then your team is your team and you're gonna win.
I see it both ways.
Essentially what we got with Stafford in my mind is we got Bo Nix with a first round matchup, right? We get the advantage of Bo Nix and Sam Darnold as they advance the second round, but we're gonna get not only a matchup, but like pretty favorable matchup where Stafford should have 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, like minimum in my mind.
That's why he would go first overall. That would make sense.
Getting Devontae Adams back is huge, seeing as they like throwing it on the goal line 50% of the time.
Yeah,
we really were
that's
debating
almost as bad as automatic as you can get.
Sure, you were debating, the Josh Allen and Drake May, I think were the only other 2 options. And it was just the matchup in the round 1, almost guaranteed. Like, you can't guarantee me Drake May gets out of the first round. You can't guarantee me Josh Allen gets out of the first round. Like, those are 50-50 game in terms of Josh Allen in my mind. And then I think it's like 65-35 that we're looking at the Patriots winning. And I feel like it's 90%. I know the numbers don't say 90%. 11-point line says all you need to know. The Panthers are not a playoff team. We all know they're not a playoff team. I get it's a long trek across the country. I don't care. Bryce Young, bad. Panthers, bad. Happy to be there. They lost a winner. They lost against the Bucs, who were a dead team walking, right? And they backed into the playoffs the last 2 weeks. And the Rams have been the best team all year, except for the last 2 weeks. They stumbled a little bit, but that was also without Devontae Adams.
Dude, Jason would have fucking totally drafted the entire Bucs team if they made the playoffs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Jason would have had probably $7, and if J-Bob was in here, he would have taken the first 6 picks of Eagles players. All right, we're gonna get to your playoff stuff real quick. Ray and Mouth, appreciate you guys coming on. Appreciate you guys drafting with us. Ray's birthday tomorrow, everybody. So wish him a happy birthday.
Ray!
Happy birthday to Ray the Dawn.
We will most likely be doing a show tomorrow, me and Big Ray at some point. It might be a late show. We got to figure it out. I'll talk about it in the Discord. Mouth, again, Downtown Sports, everyone. Link in the description for Downtown Sports. If you want to hear all his playoff predictions, he lays them all out in the episode that came out yesterday, I believe. They record every Tuesday. Yes. Link in the description, Downtown Sports. Check that shit out.
Here's the thing.
Only an hour.
Mouth. Where's my next invite? Making a birthday.
Well, maybe around then, but Tuesday, Uncle Lion's coming back home.
Oh.
So we're going to have him to analyze divisional round and beyond.
Sweet.
So all right, guys. Playoff analysis.
Yeah, no. Hey.
Good to see you, Mel.
Appreciate you guys.
We'll talk football soon. Ray, as always, it's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Mouth. Repping the hat.
Later.
Yeah. Hey, bro. Yeah,
all right, boys.
Whenever I can get the hat.
He's repping the hat. We're gonna get together. I'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll figure it out. Happy birthday, bro.
Hey, thank you.
All right, Storey. Let's get to your playoff predictions, your playoff previews. I'm gonna go through the games. Everyone's already heard my takes, so they want to hear your takes on these games. I love our team, by the way. I really do love our team. It was a mix of aggressiveness and.
I understand what Mouth is saying, but I just don't see a need for a second quarterback. If Matthew Stafford doesn't win, like the team is toast anyway. So we'll still play it out, but I would have no aspirations of placing if Matthew Stafford goes down. I think you got to make.
We wouldn't have a kicker, a defense, or a quarterback, and those are the onesie positions. It's fine though.
I think you have to make.
I ain't worried.
Fantasy football, but we'll see what happens.
Rams and Panthers. First game, Rams and Panthers tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. So this is Saturday. So technically tomorrow.
Yeah,
3:30 on Saturday.
The odds
11-point line.
The odds makers have the Panthers at plus 460, which is a huge line in the playoffs. That's an 18% probability to win. I think this is a no-brainer. I'm going Rams. I understand that they beat them in week 14, week 13, something like that.
Let's see. Dakota has a statement here. It was November 30th in
30,
Charlotte.
That was week 14. No, that was week 13. Everything had to go right for them in that game. When we just saw Bryce Young 2 weeks ago throw for 50-some yards. Give me the Rams.
What about the line, though? Who are you taking if you had to pick the line?
I'm taking the Rams. Like, I think this is a 2-touchdown game.
Yeah, I think my pick, I think I've mentioned this, my pick is the over 46. I think that's the pick because the line, that's just a high line. I know like they should crush them, right? But a backdoor cover could come from being down 17, Story.
I understand that. And in the regular season, I'm a big advocate of if a underdog is getting double digits at home, you always take that double digit spread. In the playoffs, I think it's different. I think that the Rams are probably going to want to not mess around with this one. So the Panthers just don't. It's nice that they're in the playoffs, but they just don't get it done for me. I'll take the Rams as a 2-touchdown favorite.
Well, put it this way. They could have beat the Saints in week 17 and they lost to clinch the playoffs, essentially. And they could have clinched the playoffs by beating the Bucs and they lost. So they had two chances in a playoff game, essentially. They're 0-2 against inferior opponents, to say the least. I mean, the Saints were playing well, but they're the Saints. They got last place in that division. And the Bucs were all over the place in terms of their continuity and their, the coach. Everything was bad. And they lost both those games. And they were close games. I guess that's the upside, and then they beat them November 30th. I don't care. Matt Stafford is a man on a mission this year, dude. Man on a mission.
I don't think we need to debate this one any further.
No. Packers-Bears tomorrow. That's Saturday, 7 p.m. Central Time. Packers at Bears. Green Bay. The line opened at Bears -1.5. Now it's Green Bay -1.5. So either way, essentially a pick 'em.
That's a bad indicator for the Bears right there. I'm going Packers. I want to see the Bears win. I want to see them move on. I'm not convinced that this team can put a full 4 quarters together to beat what I consider to be a pretty good Packers team. Their defense obviously has faded down the stretch, but give me the Packers. Give me them to cover. I think it comes down to I think it comes down to the Bears failing to drive down the field to score a game-winning touchdown or field goal or something like that.
Real quick, you would like the over or I know we don't bet over unders, but would you like the over under in Rams Panthers 46? You take the over in that one?
I take the over in that.
What about this game? 45.
I think this one's tight. It's a divisional, third time they're playing each other. I would go under on this one.
I think that's my bet. I think I'm staying away from, again, I don't bet lines or games very often, but if I had to bet all these games, gun to my head, the bet I would have on this game would be the under. The weather also is a big issue. It looks like 35-mile-an-hour gusts. I know you don't believe in weather, Story. But
I just don't understand how it was 51 degrees today and it's going to be like 10 degrees in 36 hours. It's freaking wild. Welcome to Chicago.
And you saw that game 3 weeks ago, whatever. That was the game that Jordan Love got hurt with a concussion, and the Bears came back. But the Bears had, 3 points on the board in the third quarter? Yeah, and it was just a drag-it-out game. Neither team could run the ball against the other team.
Like the Bears, their second seed is on the line, and Caleb Williams threw for 55 yards again. So I just don't – I believe that they have it in them to keep this close. And like I said, I just think it comes down to failing to – like the luck has to run out. That's the way I look at it. I think they're going to fail to complete that last drive.
Dakota is really hating on the Rams here. Rams are 4-4 on the road and 4-4 versus playoff teams in the regular season. Well, the nice thing is they're not actually playing a playoff team. I mean, it is the playoffs, but the Panthers are not a playoff team, right? Not a playoff team.
Small sample sizes. None of that bothers me.
Wouldn't you be more scared of the Dallas Cowboys than you would of the Panthers in this game?
I'd be more scared of the Commanders if Mariota was back playing than I would be of the.
Wow. That's damning. All right, moving on to the Sunday games. There's 3 games on Sunday. This is the noon game. Bills at Jaguars. We have Buffalo is like -1.5. So again, another similar situation. Pick 'em game. Buffalo's favored by a little bit. Over under 51.5. Expecting a big shootout for a playoff game. What's your take on this one, Story?
So I'm going to lean under on this one. 51 is big, especially with that Jaguars defense, which has been playing very, very well. And, man, I would love the Jaguars to win this one. I just think that Buffalo is going to pull it. Like, Josh Allen just too clutch. I think he's going to pull it out. This one comes down to a last-second field goal, whomever has the ball last, and I think it's going to be Buffalo. I would love the Jaguars to move on. I think it's a great story. I love the fact that Trevor Lawrence is playing the best ball. I like Liam Cohen, and I absolutely hate the play caller. I hate the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo. So I would love to see Jacksonville move on. I think it's Buffalo winning this one. Dakota, that's hilarious.
I mean, because you were trying to talk me into taking Josh Allen with that number 1 pick.
Yeah, I mean, playoff Josh Allen is hot and cold. He's a different animal though when he's on fire.
Is this the worst team that Josh Allen, like, let's take away the first year he made the playoffs where they snuck in? Is this the worst team that Josh Allen's led to the playoffs, like the worst team around him?
Yeah, for certain. Yes, 100%. But now is his time. Like, no Mahomes, no what's his name, Lamar Jackson, right? Like, you got to do it now. You've got to step up now, or the window is snapping shut very quickly. Also, the past tense of snuck it's sneaked, or past tense of sneak is sneaked, not snuck.
You know what? Fuck you. Fucking 4 degree story over here.
Just telling you.
I'm gonna get a t-shirt, instead of like, because the way I say the wrong word sometimes. Instead of 4 degrees, it's gonna be 4 degrees like temperature. It's gonna be you all cold, 4 degrees story, and that's gonna be one of the professional fanatics shirts. I am picking the Bills as well. But here's my concern. I mentioned that it's probably the worst team. I'm pretty sure it is the worst team Josh Allen's brought, at least talent around him. And McDermott is kind of on not the hot seat, but we don't like him as a coach. Obviously, you hate him as a coach because you hate all coaches. But it's Josh Allen's health, right? It's an X factor. Now, he did get week 18 off, but there is a chance, I think a 50% chance that after the season, regardless if it happens after this game or after the Super Bowl, if they make it there, that Josh Allen's going to come out and have multiple surgeries this year because there is a wrist issue, a hand issue kind of thing, and there's also a foot issue. So he has one broken bone. I can promise you that. Josh Allen's a badass. He will play through injuries.
Yeah.
That's my concern. And it was watching the second half of that Eagles game when they had the ball the entire second half, and he was refusing to run unless it was around the goal line. And this wasn't a must-win game for them because they were never going to catch the Patriots. But I've never seen Josh Allen hesitant to run, especially in a game like that with weather. This was a prime game for Josh Allen to take it over, and he still almost should have won the game. But, like, that is concerning. Now, I don't think he's going to do that in the playoffs. He's going to lay it all on the line, right? But if he is diminished, if he is 60% Josh Allen against a Jaguars team that's red hot, that has pretty much a full complement of everything. Their defense is healthy. Their offense is healthy. Liam Cohen is confident as hell. Trevor Lawrence is on, I know there's some pressure, but like no one expected the Jags to be there, right? And still they're not even favorites at home, Story. That no one believes in this theory, like all those things. That's my worry. I'm still picking the Bills. I was tempted to bet on the Bills money line, like -108, but I don't think I have the balls to do it. Would you do it, Story?
Yeah, like it's a 1-point spread, so that you might as well just take the money line.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely take that. Okay, moving on to Niners-Eagles. Niners at Eagles. This is Sunday, 3:30. Philly -4.5, -5, depending on the book. Over under 44.5. What's your take, Story?
This one is that unstoppable object versus immovable force that we talked about. Philly's defense versus San Francisco's offense, who up until last week was firing on all cylinders. 3 points against Seattle is quite damning. Now, I trust Shanahan to right the ship here, and I don't trust Sirianni and Kevin Petula. And a lot of stuff has come out over the last week, 10 days, 2 weeks, that Jalen Hurts seems very frustrated with the play calling, with the offensive schemes, etc. I think there's enough turbulence in that locker room. I don't believe in the offense. I don't believe in them being able to play from behind. So if San Fran gets out to a lead, which is what I think is going to happen, then I think San Fran wins this one. What did you say the spread was?
4.5 or 5?
4.5.
Say 4.5.
That is.
Yeah, it was -3.5. It opened at -3.5, and it's moved. And I want to make a little announcement about J-Bob. So J-Bob does really small bets. Like he bets like $10 or $5 per game on all my picks. And he is up. He cashed out $50. He started with $20. He cashed out $50. Now he's at $97. And he's going to put the entire 97 on the money line, which is like -240. I'm like, dude, don't do that. Like the return is nothing. You're going to make $40, $30 and risk your $97. Like just bet the -4.5. You're going to do that, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If that's his entire bankroll, I would never advocate somebody putting their entire bankroll on one game.
He's a Philly guy.
Yeah, if he really wants to do that, I would think there's a better way to do it. But I'm not going to tell somebody how to bet. That's entirely.
Well, put it to you this way, Story, and let me know what you think. If you could put, let's say it's $100, you could put $100 in the Eagles money line to win, $38, or you could bet $15 or $20 in the Niners money line and win the same money. Like, give me the $20. It's a playoff game, and then Kyle Shanahan.
Again, I'm not going to tell somebody how to bet. If he really wants to bet on the Eagles, how pissed would you be if you took the -4.5 and they won by 3? You know what I mean? Like, so more power to them. I think San Fran wins this game.
Dakota says just bet Barkley over 80 yards at -114. That should work because their defense is terrible, but
I don't know that they know how to utilize Barkley properly anymore.
That's the point. Okay, so we're both were we both taking Eagles money line though, or if we had to make a pick without the line, or are you taking the Niners?
No, I take the Niners.
Really?
I think
Straight up.
I think they win this game. I don't think the bookmakers are giving them enough respect. Dude, it's Shanahan.
No, it's recency bias, right? It's how they fit. It's one bad game. They had one bad game against Seahawks,
right?
And the Seahawks have an elite defense. No, so does the Eagles, but I think I do think the Seahawks have a better defense than the Eagles.
I do too.
Barely.
I do too. And I don't trust the Eagles offense. Like this, they could be up 3 points at halftime, and Sirianni will be running the clock out in the third quarter.
And let's not forget Seattle's defense that was in Seattle, and I believe it was in Seattle, and it's a division game, right? Like that. Those are bad recipes for like stinkers.
Yeah.
Where this is a playoff game, teams aren't that familiar with each other, and again, the coaching staff, like Robert Saleh, elite coach. Kyle Shanahan, elite coach, like good coordinators, good coaches. Sirianni, Pachulo.
I would say Saleh is a good coordinator. Ooh. He proved that he's not a good coach.
Yeah. No, he's a good coordinator, but that's all. He's not a head coach there. So like the coach is better, the coordinators are better. With the coaching in general is better in San Fran by a wide margin.
100%. There's no argument for me. I hate the Eagles. I think
the talent level is better with the Eagles, but the question comes down to do you trust Jalen Hurts?
No,
and he hasn't shown us a lot. Right, it's going to come down. I mean, unless they can run the ball down their throat. But again, we saw the Eagles against the Bills in a bad weather game. They had a 2-touchdown lead in the third and fourth quarter, and it was in that situation where they just needed to salt the clock away, and they could not run the ball. And the Bills run D, yes, better than the Niners run D, but not exactly a strong unit story.
I mean, if Saquon Barkley, 1 year removed from almost getting 2,000 yards rushing, could barely muster 3.4 yards per carry against one of the weaker run defenses in the league, I don't have any hope that the Eagles can right the running back ship here.
All right, Chargers at Patriots. This is Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central. Chargers at Patriots. We have New England -3.5 at home. Over under 46. I definitely like the over in this game.
Do you? Because I'm not convinced that the Chargers are going to be able to muster much offense. I think
Justin Herbert, baby.
I think the Patriots take this one walking away. I would take the -3.5, and I would take the Patriots. Obviously, I would take
really?
The Patriots. Yeah.
No respect for Harbaugh.
No respect for Harbaugh. No respect for Justin Herbert. No respect for the oft-injured Omarion Hampton. No respect for the oft-disappearing Quentin Johnson. Keenan Allen is past his prime. Ladd McConkey is not what he was last year for whatever reason. Gadsden flashed in the pan for 3 games and has completely fallen off the radar. The offensive line is a disaster. I just don't know how they're going to be able to score points in this game.
The Patriots defense is not great. It's overrated.
But
that's the thing. And their pass rush is garbage. So that's the thing. It's like, can they exploit the weak offensive line, the weak tackles of the Chargers? Do they have enough talent? Or are they going to have to manufacture it with pressure, with blitzes? And if that's the case, Justin Herbert will fucking torch you, bro. That's my worry. I'm saying I do trust Justin Herbert. Now, playoff Justin Herbert's been awful, Storey. Awful. And I know he's got a big chip on his shoulder. I like Justin Herbert.
Dude,
he is playing hurt.
The unknown of Drake May is more appealing to me than the disappointing just slob fest that is Justin Herbert and his 2 playoff appearances so far in his short career.
Yeah, I'll say this. He's hurt, but he did get week 18 off. Unfortunately, that's not enough time to, cure a broken bone, a broken hand. But at least he'll be healthier than he has been. All it takes is one hit to kind of flare that thing up. But I do trust the coach. I'm tempted to want to take the Chargers at +3.5. We're talking line. But if it was 3, I'd take the Patriots all day. The hook there is big. And I've been kind of critical of the Patriots all year in terms of just, and not of Drake May. I've been very on the Drake May bandwagon that he is elite. But the team as a whole, I feel like they're not very talented. Their defense outside of Christian Gonzalez, not talented. I think their offense it's Drake May is what it is. And I go back to that second half against the Bills when they were up. They were up 24 points at halftime, and they didn't score a single point against the Bills defense. And I know it was a one-off thing in a game, division game, all that kind of stuff, but that did happen. And you saw a little bit of Drake May's warts. And again, Drake May's been taking care of the ball at an incredible clip this year, dude. Drake May is prone to the fumblies, okay? He is a fumbler. He is a turnover guy. So could that happen? We've seen it with Justin Herbert. We've seen it with some of these young quarterbacks. Moment gets a little big, home playoff game, you're the favorite, and then he just kind of lays a stinker. Now, I don't think that's enough for them to lose the game, but like I feel like you're saying that they're going to destroy him. Like, you have more faith in the Patriots winning, or do you have more faith in, we'll say, the Steelers and Texans, the game we talk about next? Like, who do you think? That's a 3-point line. Like, do you think the Texans, who are the teams closer? Is it Texans and Steelers closer in terms of tier of teams, or Patriots Chargers?
I don't know. What are you asking? I'm not sure what you're asking.
In terms of tier of teams, like are the Chargers closer to the Patriots or the Steelers closer to the Texans? Chargers. Talent level, coaching, just an overall team.
Oh, no, the Patriots are far and away better. I don't know why you're so up on the Chargers. Like, their offense has been a complete disaster for the entire second half of the year. They've been unable to sustain drives. Their third down efficiency is one of the worst in the league. Their pressure rate, allowing sacks, is one of the worst in the league. Justin Herbert is literally broken. I don't understand, like, the way that Drake May and the Patriots have been playing. Yeah, okay, so they let their foot off the gas, and they weren't able to like, muster themselves back into it in one game. The rest of the time, they've been doing what they need to do to take care of it. I think the Patriots are far and away a much better team than the Chargers. Like, top to bottom, Chargers are one of the worst in the playoffs, and I think the Patriots are the best in the AFC.
See, I would argue that the Texans are better, or have a bigger gap from the Texans to the Steelers than the Patriots to the Chargers. Just because I've seen that offense in Pittsburgh just score 6 points against the Browns and like really strike. I've seen their defense be awful for 2/3 of the year. Where like the Chargers do have a good defense. They do have a professional organization, right?
I believe technically they're a professional organization.
God, you hate the Chargers. Okay, so you just hate the Chargers. All right, let's get to the last game. Texans at Steelers. Houston -3, which is a kind of a wild line. If it goes down to 2.5, Story, I might hammer the Texans. Houston -3, over under 38.5. So defensive struggle here. Who you got, man? The line is low. Why is this line not 5?
38. The big question is, like, is Houston going to be able to play a playoff game when it's not a Saturday? Like, they've been getting, like, the last 3 years in a row, I think they've gotten the Saturday afternoon game. So good for them. This one, while not as easy as the
real quick Story, they wanted to put them in that game, but they had the Panthers that made the playoffs, so they can't have the Panthers on Monday Night Football.
That's true. This one is pretty easy to me. Not as easy as the Patriots over the Chargers, but this one is also Houston, and it's on the backs of that defense. The offense has been somewhat sporadic, although it has been better in the second half. The Steelers, this feels like a Mike Tomlin situation, right? Where he just pulls a win to get into the playoffs out of his butt, and the next thing you know, they're out of the playoffs and they're on a beach in Mexico on January 11th. So yeah, I like the Houston. I like the Texans, and I like the Texans to cover the spread in this one.
It's a low spread. I thought that this game would be. I feel like this spread should be bigger than the Patriots spread, just because the team they're facing, the quarterback they're facing. I know Rodgers has been playing well. He's just so old, and he also has a broken bone in his non-throwing hand. Like, he's a warrior. I love Aaron Rodgers. It's just like they're riding a high right now, but the talent isn't there. We know playoff Tomlin, like all the storylines. Home game, I guess, right? Is that what it is? Home game?
Aaron Rodgers, you got to give respect to Aaron Rodgers. The running game has been pretty good, especially the running through the air where they do a lot of short passes, etc. People have respect for Arthur Smith. I don't. I think he's terrible personally, but the league does have respect for Arthur Smith. Hey, there's a pup. There's a pupper.
Really? On the show.
I think that's why. I think it's a combination of respect for the play calling, the head coach, and the quarterback. But still, like, while I don't think DeMeco Ryans is a particularly good coach, I think that Stroud is a good enough quarterback, and that defense is just nasty enough that they should edge out the Steelers.
If they played this game 10 times, okay, 10 times, same situation, playoff game, what's the average amount of points the Steelers score on offense? Like 13, 17?
What's their implied point total?
Well, 38 is the over-under -3, so they're projecting like a 21-17 game.
Yeah. I'd put them right in that range. 17 points seems about right. 16.5, 17 points.
Yeah, and I know the Texans offense has been just sputtering, but I do still trust CJ Stroud.
The
They won a playoff game
like,
in 2 straight
the
years.
reason the spread is what it is probably because DK Metcalf is back. That should give a boost to the passing game. I mean,
yeah, I love the Texans defense. I love their defense. They travel all 3 levels, man. Their pass rush, their linebackers are solid, and their secondary is just
I mean, that's why I'm taking Houston. I'm just kind of justifying why I think the spread is what the spread is.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna answer some questions, and then that's it for us tonight. I am obligated to play the Bill Cosby clip. Jason, Trevor Lawrence is Trevor is playing his best ball, and the Bills are forever cursed in Highmark Stadium. Bills win the Super Bowl next year in the new stadium.
It's probably why they're tearing down that stadium. Did you hear that you can buy the all sorts of parts of that stadium, including the troughs, the urinals, like the troughs they use for urinals in the bathroom?
That's sick. MVP says Josh Allen just needs Cook and his tight ends to perform. I mean, typically, but I think you need a little bit more if you're going to make a deep run. Someone's got to step up, and I don't think they have the bodies. Now, Brandon Cooks, Gabe Davis, like that's so gross, dude. It's so gross. At least they have a lot of them. There's a lot of them.
I mean, you had mentioned like Allen near the end of the year was somewhat hesitant to run. I think Josh Allen is going to put his body on the line with this. He seems to be kind of a different animal in the playoffs. It would have been nice if he had, been a little hesitant when we had James Cook on our fantasy team early in the year instead of him sneaking in 2 touchdowns. But, we take the good with the bad, I guess.
Miles says McDaniels to Baltimore, calling it now. What are your thoughts on that one?
Oh, my God. I can't. He won't get a head coaching job for at least 2 or 3 more years. He's going to be a coordinator somewhere. Heard the Lions are talking to him. Fine, let him go be a coordinator. I think the league has figured him out. I think he'll get another head coaching job probably in 2029 with or 28 with the Jets or with God, who's going to need a new head coach by then? Probably
the Raiders always need a new head coach.
Yeah, so fine, I guess whatever. Oh, I saw
Check
that.
this out. Did you see this?
Did you see the comments?
Jets are celebrating the fact that they had the same 5 all year, and they're the first team since 2023, which isn't that long ago. Shot the same 5 offensive linemen in all 17 games, which is kind of funny because it's actually a bad stat story. The fact that they were this bad with that much continuity in the offensive line. You know what I mean? Like, that's really rare, obviously. And, like, the fact that they were so bad on offense with this same unit on offensive line, it'd be one thing. I would be more understandable if they had, 14 different combinations, which is usually what happens when a team wins 3 or 4 games. So, like, that's wild, bro. Like, they're celebrating that. There's not much to celebrate, right?
I wouldn't think so. If I was the social media team, I would have left that one in the drafts.
Yeah, just so bad. I just love it. That's so Jets, dude. Good for you, Jets. Super happy about that one. Let's see. Shahad Khan called it on the season opener. This will last forever. Jags Super Bowl, seen it coming. I think that guy's a clown as an owner. What are you probably don't like a lot of owners either, do you, Storey?
Most owners are rich, bored white men who have very little concept of how to run a professional sports organization. I'll tell you what, most owners are billionaires, and most billionaires are raging idiots. If you look at the guys who are self-made versus the owners in professional sports teams, like these guys fell into money, they got lucky, or they inherited it. Most of the time, they inherited it. Just because you have $1 billion or multiple billions of dollars does not make you a smart person. Just because you are the CEO of a Fortune 500 company does not make you a smart individual. And I would argue that the vast majority of owners in professional sports are raging idiots.
And they're also surrounded by yes men, which is not what you want.
Problem too,
you know
right?
I mean?
You got sycophants that are working for these guys. Look at Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is like the biggest clown owner in sports. He is the problem with that organization, but he refuses to relinquish control, and nobody has the guts to tell him, "Hey, Jerry, maybe like let somebody else hire the defensive coordinator. Like maybe you aren't running Venezuela."
Get that guy out of the draft room. Jerry Jones is going to be out of the draft room. He wanted to take Johnny Manziel. That's documented. Furious says Texans at -155 is a hammer, and 10.5 points is way too many for the Panthers not to cover. It is a lot of points. We don't see that very often in the NFL in playoff games. We don't see that at all, even in regular season games very often, but wild. Jason says Eagles second half offense worse in the league, and that's damning. That's not good. You gotta have it. You can't just like run the clock out against the Niners because their offense is explosive and they have answers. They have answers to your answers. You know what I mean? Kyle Shanahan does.
I get it. I'm with Jason here. Like the Eagles are an embarrassment to the league, if you ask me.
Dakota's anti-Patriots take here, even with the Patriots only beating one team with a winning record and losing to the Raiders and Steelers. By the way, it seems like a million years ago when the Raiders, which is crazy, is how the Raiders beat the Patriots week 1. And the Raiders won 2 games all season, and they beat the Patriots, who are the number 2 seed, essentially almost number 1 seed. Like, isn't that wild to think about that happened week 1?
That is wild to think about. I'm not going to let the Patriots did what they needed to do. Like, strong record. They didn't actually get the 1 seed, but, very strong record. They beat the teams they were supposed to. They lost to the Raiders, but the Steelers are a playoff team, obviously. But every team can have a bad game. Just look at, the Rams got beat by the Panthers, right? The Jets won 3 games this year. So somebody screwed up at some point when they were losing that game. So a couple of games where they dropped the ball. Again, you brought up the game where they didn't score a point in the second half. Obviously, that's going to happen. I think Vrabel's a pretty good coach, right? His parting with Tennessee was not a performance thing. It was a culture, organization thing. They stopped getting along. So I'm going to buy into the Patriots and this formerly MVP frontrunner, now the second in line to Stafford, quarterback.
Shrone doesn't see the Patriots doing much in the playoffs, maybe second round. I'm kind of in line with you, but I could be dead wrong on this one just because if Drake May plays at the level he was playing in the regular season, which is MVP level, like we mentioned, they're going to be dangerous, very dangerous. This is a question for you. Oregon or Indiana, Story? I believe it's -3.5 or Indiana right now.
Indiana, man. Yeah, I think Indiana's a better coach. I don't think Dan Lanning is that good. This is going to be surprise. I don't think Dan Lanning is that good of a coach for Oregon. I do think Kirk Cignetti is a great coach. And the fact that James Madison made the playoffs 2 years after he left that organization speaks volumes about the culture, the staff, everything that he put into place. But that being said, Mendoza has got a great pre-game or pre-night game ritual where he eats chicken nuggets and mac and cheese. Dude, come on. That's kids' food. The guy's going out there. He's gonna dominate. I like Indiana. And Dante Moore has had plenty of like down games. They almost lost to Iowa this year. They barely beat Iowa this year.
Steelers are 20-something-0 on Monday nights. This is playoffs, so I think it's a little different. DK is ready to go. Steelers have 2 receiving backs, which neutralize pass rush. That's true, but like the thing is, like I mentioned yesterday, don't you think that the coaching staff on Houston knows this? You know what I mean? They understand what the Steelers are going to try to do.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good point to the fact that like why the line is what it is. DK certainly moves the needle, but again, let's not forget that DK, while he had several games leading up to that suspension where he performed well, a lot of the season has been a bit of a disappointment. Him and Rodgers really weren't connecting.
No, and Stingley is a god. Like he's a god. So Rip Piggy Smalls, that was mouse pet guinea pig, lasted a long time. I think.
Well, it's
13 years.
That's sad.
Yeah, 12 years or something. Shout out to Mouse South, by the way, Downtown Sports. Link in the description.
I just got that. That's hilarious.
Dakota, warm weather dome team playing in 25-degree weather on Monday night in Pittsburgh. The difference is Houston's not your typical dome team. They're built for outside, in my mind.
I mean, don't forget, Stroud played his football or his college ball in a lot of adverse conditions.
100%. And do the playoffs determine the MVP between May and Stafford? They do not. They should, but that's actually not the spirit of the award.
Will be done tomorrow, right? Yeah. Playoff voting, I think, closes tomorrow. Or playoff MVP voting closes tomorrow. Stafford is now the favorite again, like the big favorite. So after week 18, it was -120 for Stafford, -110 for Drake May. Now it's -175 for Stafford, +140 for Drake May. So the books seem to think that it's Stafford's to lose. This might be I think it should be Stafford, but this might be like a lifetime achievement award kind of thing for Stafford. I don't know.
That's what I call it. It's like the Oscars, a career. No, he doesn't have one. It's a career achievement award, and Drake May will be back many times.
Right.
And Stafford won't be unless it's next year.
It shouldn't be that, but that's kind of how things unfold.
Where do you think McDaniels return goes? Dakota was wondering if he would return to the Niners as offensive coordinator. Now, Kyle Shanahan is the offensive coordinator there. He calls the plays. But McDaniels, I do respect McDaniels' offensive prowess. Again, let's not forget, Tua is awful. Like Tua's true colors have been shown these last 2 years. he led that team as a play caller to the number 1 offense and the number 3 offense, I believe, in back-to-back years in that stretch. And like a lot of people were saying it was Tua. This was clearly McDaniel. So he knows ball. He knows how to call plays. And Tua is god awful. I don't care how good Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle were. He had that quarterback who was just a big mess. He is so limited in what he could do and what he did back then. And like, so you like McDaniel as an offensive coordinator?
I want to see it another year. I want to see him, like, obviously he was a bad head coach, but I want to see if he still has it or if he like saved all his tricks for the Dolphins. And like I said at the beginning of the year, I thought that the NFL had figured him out. Now they need to fix the quarterback problem. Tua is obviously not the answer there. That team hit like Achane is set up to succeed. So is Waddle. We'll see if Waller comes back. I don't think it really makes that big of a deal, but they need to fix the quarterback problem. I think that the 49ers really like Clint Kubiak because he doesn't rock the boat there. Shanahan's calling the plays there anyway. I'm not sure what Kubiak does. I don't know why you would need to hire McDaniels personally. Like he made his hay there. I don't think he's going back here. I think he's going to the Lions. That's the kind of the rumor.
That's a great spot. That's a great spot for him because I love him as a coordinator, hate him as a head coach.
Dude, once like Ben Johnson didn't take over play calling duties for no reason,
Right. MetLife Stadium is voted the saddest place on earth. That does not surprise me. A lot of injuries there too. Jay says if the Jags make a Super Bowl run, Lawrence should be considered for the MVP. Unfortunately, the playoffs don't factor in at all. He might get some votes though in general, just because of
he'll get some votes. I certainly. I just want to see where he's at because the actual consideration is so he's plus 30,000. So no, I mean it's between May and Stafford. May could pull an upset right now. It seems like Stafford is the interestingly, JSN is the favorite for offensive player of the year. That's probably over Puka Nacua, and that's probably because he played all 17 games and Puka missed a short stint there in the middle.
Yeah, and Sam Darnold opposed to Stafford. So if Stafford wins the MVP, that kind of takes away some of the value of what Puka did. I'm not saying it should, but it does. Right. Jay says it. Here, I said that one. Real quick about Trevor Lawrence. I think that I'm not trying to discredit what Trevor Lawrence did, but I'm going to give a lot of flowers to Liam Cohen. And I feel like he was responsible for Trevor Lawrence's, and it's a 2-pronged thing, Storey. We've seen this with Ben Johnson leaving the Lions, and now we saw this with Liam Cohen leaving the Bucs, right? Look at that offense. Look at Bucky Irving. Look at the run schemes. Look at the creative way he was getting all those guys. Chris Godwin, all had career years. Baker had a career year, and then he leaves, and what happens? They crater. They were top 5 in EPA per play, and then they go to mid to low 20s. That's a big drop when you have the same crew, and you brought in Ibuka.
Yeah, don't remind me about Ibuka. So so I was just reading this the other day that Evans. So Rachaad White, unrestricted free agent. Bucky Irving. I'm sorry, not Bucky Irving. Sean Tucker, restricted free agent. Evans, unrestricted free agent, and there's a couple other guys. They need to clear some runway here for the guys that they want, like Godwin, Ibuka, and then Bucky Irving. They need to get some of the ancillary pieces out and let the stars be the stars. This kind of shifting committee situation that they had at both running back and wide receiver, I think was a detriment to them. So if Evans comes back, I think he's got a limited role. I'm hopeful that Ibuka can return to the beginning of the season for him.
Yeah, I still saw people are pretty bullish on him next year. And for me, it's like if they bring everyone back, which Godwin's coming back for sure. He had the 3-year contract. Mike Evans, I think, is coming back, and he's not going to take a backseat. He still showed he can ball out. And then McMillan was awesome, and Kate Otten is as a cog there. So it's like, where does Ibuka fit in? Because if there's a 4-way committee there at wide receiver, unless you get 2023 Baker throwing 38 touchdown passes, there is no value to be had with Ibuka in the 4th round, dude. That's gonna be the same thing as taking Marvin Harrison in the 4th round this year, right? Or Garrett Wilson in the 4th, just bad pick.
Yeah. So Evans is an unrestricted free agent, and while he's been with that organization since he was drafted, would it surprise you to see him walk in free agency? I know that we want to feel like the teams are loyal to these guys, but I mean, it's a business decision at some point. I think they need to clear some of the chaff out. Why are we bringing back McMillan? Like, if we've got Igbokwe, we drafted Igbokwe for a reason. Why? I know they drafted McMillan, but the guy's had tons of injuries since he's been in the league. I don't know. Like, if they run it back with the same kind of messy situation, I'm going to be knocking all those guys down my rankings next year.
Goated says, if Derrick Henry is going in later rounds next year, like 4 or 5, should I draft him? Yeah, he won't ever go that low. Unless they bring in somebody, but like, as long as the offense has Lamar Jackson and he is the early down banger and the goal line back, like you've seen the stat, like they have had a running back have 10 plus rushing touchdowns for like 6 straight years now. And we're talking about the all-time best banger in the league. That still looks awesome. By the way, Derrick Henry, the last 4 weeks when they unleashed him, he looked like 2021 Derrick Henry. Have you seen any drop off in the guy's game besides the fumbles?
I mean, he probably doesn't have the same breakaway speed, but he's still he can still outrun most guys on the field. They need to draft a guard they desperately need to draft a guard in the draft or find one in free agency. That offensive line performed very poorly in spots. So if they shore up the offensive line and they get some downfield weapons, like Bateman was a disappearing act this year. Flowers popped his head up here and there. But if they can like take pressure off of the front 5 and allow Derrick Henry to do what he does best, then he could return very good value. Even does he slip to the third? Do you think he slips to the third?
I think he's a 2-3. I think he's a 2-3 turn pick. Is like getting Derrick Henry. If you get, let's say you take McCaffrey, you take Bijan, or you take Jamar Chase, or Puka, any of these guys, getting a stable presence in Derrick Henry, even in PPR, who is going to be a top 13 running back and doesn't get hurt, like it's such a nice advantage because you're not getting that after, usually after the first 18 picks, there's a teardrop. We saw it this year, right? Where JSN ended up popping, Trey McBride, but after that, all those guys busted, right? Yeah. They did not perform, and that's a guy that will perform, especially you're talking about third round. Godet said T-Law isn't close to being an elite quarterback, been in a bit of a heater at the end of the year, but he doesn't look any better over the course of this year than years past. The story of the Jags is defense. I'm going to argue with you a bit when I say he's taking care of the ball more, and he's been the biggest problem story with Trevor Lawrence in the previous 3 years was he refused to run because he wasn't taking advantage of the dual threat quarterback he is, and he was turning the ball over a bunch in the red zone. So I think this year what he did was he did throw a couple picks in the red zone, but he just started running in the red zone, which opened up the touchdowns on through his legs, and also he just wasn't throwing the picks because he was running more. And like that's where he took a step up, is a little bit better reading defenses. Liam Cohen really simplified it for him. And the red zone rushing stuff just made him a quarterback. So
Liam Cohen's if you look back, Liam Cohen simplified a lot to start the year, and then they started to implement more and more advanced schemes. And this is something that we need to remember for next year. Look at Ben Johnson, look at Liam Cohen, look at these teams that are bringing in. I don't want to call them gurus, but really smart offensive play callers. Really not play callers necessarily, but really smart offensive guys that could scheme up things. It takes a little while for it to gel, especially with guys that, like Trevor Lawrence had gotten in a bit of a habit. So as soon as he started to that offense, he starts to get a better handle on it. Like you said, he starts running a little bit more, especially in the red zone. That opens things up. It helps playing really well. It helps that their offensive line. Thomas took a step back this year. So I will agree. I don't think he's an elite quarterback, but you cannot argue that this is the best that he's ever played in his NFL career. Like he certainly is outshining every other year that he's played in the league.
Been anticipating the Derrick Henry fall off year since 2001 injury. Yeah, a lot of people were, and this actually brings me to a funny story of remember Dan Le Batard? ESPN guy. I always liked Le Batard. He wasn't the smartest sports guy, but he was kind of a bridge guy where he talks like pop culture, sports, all that kind of stuff. But he had a take. I forget what game it was. It was like a notable like Thursday night game in like 2016 or something. And Tom Brady had an awful game against the Dolphins. And this is probably, 7 years before Brady retired. And remember how there was that little dip in Tom Brady? Like it was like the third or fourth last year he was with the Patriots. And he like came on like that week and was like, this is it for Tom Brady. He's done. And it was like he for the next 7 years, he was just like watching this. He's like, that was the worst take I've ever made, because Brady ends up winning 3 more Super Bowls after that. And like, still looked great at 45 years old in the Bucs. And he was only 37. And the thing is, his take was accurate with most human beings at 37. We've seen it with Matt Ryan and some of these guys at 37. They just lose it, right? You see this right now with Kirk Cousins. Like they're just, when they're done. They don't come back. And Brady was a little dinged up. And like Brady, that's just like one of the worst calls ever. So that's similar to like all of us waiting and counting down for Derrick Henry to fall off, because yes, 32 years old at a running back, not ideal. Derrick Henry, not a normal human, from a normal human.
Sometimes you get unicorns, right? Adrian Peterson was a unicorn. The guy came back from reconstructive surgery. And speaking of Kirk Cousins, what are the Falcons going to do at quarterback next year? Like,
no idea.
Penix is coming off his third reconstruction, and
that was a late injury too.
Yeah, and obviously, like, Kirk Cousins is not it anymore. Like, he could be a serviceable backup. I don't know if they draft somebody free agency. There's obviously they're gonna have
Kyler Murray.
God, I hope not.
That's better than what they have, though.
Yeah.
One more point on Derrick Henry that we failed to understand. Derrick Henry does not take, like, Saquon Barkley, Adrian Peterson, these guys. They're bigger guys, but they take a lot of hits. Have you ever seen Derrick Henry get blown up or take like a shot to his knee? Like, he's always falling forward, Like, Derrick Henry does not really take hits. He gives out hits. Like, he doesn't really take big hits. He runs in the middle, but, like, it's just something weird about how tall he is, and you think that would, like, lend itself to, turn to ankles and knee injuries, but it just doesn't happen. Like, if I'm
ever feeling blue or down, I'll just go Google Derrick Henry stiff-arming guys into oblivion, and watching him throw cornerbacks 10 yards downfield, like, on runs, is just hilarious. I will say, like, this is a physics problem. So Derrick Henry in the past, nowadays, is not taking the hits that guys 10, 15 years ago. And we've talked about this on this stream before. Like, the linebackers, like, how big was Ray Lewis compared to how big the linebackers are today? Kyron Williams,
good call.
Like, when Kyron Williams took over that job, everyone's like, he's 5'10", 198 pounds. Like, he can't handle the rigors of the NFL. And the dude has been a stalwart ever since he took over that job. Like, barely getting injured, nicked up here and there, whatever. Like, this is no longer a physics problem of really heavy linebackers coming downhill really quickly. Like, the game has shifted to the point that you can look at guys like Devon Achane, and they're going to have a longer career with fewer injuries because of they're not running into the same bulldozers that they were previously. So for Derrick Henry, who's an even bigger monster of a man, like, he's dealing out the injuries on these guys, as opposed to, like, the shocks that he's absorbing are less than even what he was absorbing the beginning of his career. It also helped that he did, I shouldn't say sat a year, but he certainly backed up for a year in Tennessee.
And it's not just the size of the linebackers, which has gone from, 255, 250 to about 235. It's the base defense that teams are playing. So now you're only looking at 2 linebackers in the field opposed to 3. And that's a base defense, right? We're not even talking about 3rd and 6.
Especially with that shell coverage that we're seeing so across the league now. You're seeing a lot of nickel packages and dime packages, so fewer linebackers. So getting to the second level, safeties and cornerbacks making tackles as opposed to the linebackers. There's a lot that goes into it. So, Derrick Henry is certainly a special case, but you look at Achane, and, like, he made his hay this year in the running game in addition to the passing game.
That's a really good call, though. I'm just thinking about the last 2 years as the guy that always drafts every handcuff ever when my benches are filled with backup running backs. And the injury rate for these starters is so low. And it's historically low 2 years in a row now.
Yeah.
And, one might say it's fluky, right? Or like it's going to, the trend will buck and go the other way. But with what you just said, it makes me think that, yes, there will be more injuries next year than there was this year. I said that this year it didn't work, but, like, it's not going to happen 3 years in a row where, like, the top 6 guys play 16 games. But the trend could be based on the guys tackling them are 20 pounds lighter than what they were even 6-7 years ago. And, like, that, everything factors in, right? But it's like, there has to be something to this, because this was 2 years in a row of no major injuries. And we had guys like Saquon coming off 400 touches and stuff like that. Older running backs too, Alvin Kamara.
Came off a major injury, and people are going to be down on him because he touched the ball 425 times or whatever it is. But, if this happened last year and that was it, that's a happenstance. 2 years in a row, that's a coincidence. If this happens again next year, and I'm with you. I'm in on drafting running backs because the pendulum could swing back, backup running backs. But if it happens a 3rd year in a row, I think we need to adjust our thinking for how running backs are, the longevity of running backs throughout the season going forward until things change. And they will. This is a cyclical game, right? At some point, some teams are going to start employing heavier, stouter linebackers, and they're going to go to, traditional 7 front, 4-3, or even a 3-4. It'll swing back eventually.
Yeah, I've always been a zero RB guy, and it used to work because there were so many running back injuries and not as much. Real quick, got to shout out the Patreon guys. Thank you for keeping the lights on here 7 days a week. We are live 7 nights a week, gentlemen. Even in the off season when football is done, we're still gonna be live 4 or 5 nights a week, so you're not gonna miss your fix. Also, ways to get in the Discord. You join the Patreon, access the Discord, community fantasy leagues. We just did our playoff fantasy draft tonight. That was the first half of the show. Did our draft grades, guest appearances on the show. You want to be sitting where Storey's sitting. Free merchandise giveaways. Access to my bets. We are sitting at 86-51 this year. A couple rough weeks, but that's still a solid record. And Storey, what do we call? We call the Discord. It's the place to be.
The place to be.
It's what do you call it, Kramer? It was. Come on, Rudy. What? Come on. We call it the place. The place to be. Yes.
So if you want information on that, link in the description or go to professionalfanatics.com. That's also in the description. Get you in the Patreon. I will send you an email invite to get in the Discord. We are 74 people strong in that chat. It's everything, man. Fantasy football, random talk, great group of guys, great community. So appreciate your support. And if you want to help out, support your boys, that's a good way. Also, it gets a lot of good perks, man. We're going to be doing about 6 or 7 of these fantasy drafts next year, community leagues, professional fanatics leagues. Play against me and Storey. I love our fucking team tonight. So let's look at our team one more time before we get off and kind of glaze it a little bit because I'm pretty happy with it. And the star power wasn't there, but the formation of this team, 10-team league, is
pretty
I love it. I love it. The running backs, man, Etienne and Henderson. Oh, I love it. And the hedging with Khalil Shakir, we get our number 1 receiver, which our receivers are weak, right? But Tet's me a nice 1-week fill in there. And then our bench, I know it doesn't look sexy, but it is beautiful with what we talked out. And we're going to have players in full lineups, I think, for like 3 weeks.
So, by the way, I had to, the other day, I had to explain the difference between a glaze, an icing, and a frosting to my wife. And she's the baker in the family. And she didn't know the difference between these. I was very disappointed.
Oh, yeah, we need the Rams. We need the Rams, baby. Stafford, Mevis, and Rams defense. Let's go.
I think you kind of glazed over my comment on the dessert toppings there.
I'm not really a baker, so I don't really have like a leg to stand on. Because I don't know anything about it. I like to eat it.
It's good stuff.
Clearly, it's like a Tommy Boy where he's like, I used to eat bear claws as a kid. I have what doctors call a little bit of a weight problem. I'm bordering on that. GT says my 6.7 score team is going to beat y'all. GT. All right. See, I like the confidence that everyone. MVP says excited to see how the playoff league plays out. Wanted Stafford at pick 3, but I had Allen right behind him. I see a Bills-Rams Super Bowl.
Yeah, MVP. I will tell you that Rob and I went back and forth on Stafford versus Puka versus Josh Allen, and I came around on Stafford. I was a little hesitant at first, but I think that's the right pick.
It's just the guaranteed second game in my mind. And I know, like, if you're all in on the Bills, you shouldn't be worried about the first game. Unfortunately, the Jags is not an easy game. It's on the road against a hot team. And, it's the scoring, too. It's 6 for a passing touchdown. Like, Josh Allen is not as valuable. Like, the pocket passer is what you want in this format. And that's why we decided to go with Matt Stafford. So, hope it doesn't bite us in the ass. GT says, I'll glaze, frost, and ice your team. Story. We love it. We love it. All right, great show. Super excited about the year. We're going to be updating the standings every week. So appreciate all the Patreon members. That was a Patreon-only draft, so appreciate you guys. If you want to get in next year, we're also doing a fantasy a dynasty startup. So that's going to be in May. Super excited about that. It's going to be a 10-teamer, probably a super flex, probably 4 flex spots. It's going to be deep as hell, Story, just the way we like it.
I mean, it's got to be a super flex if you're doing dynasty. It has to be. Otherwise,
yeah. Really
might as well play with your sister's kids at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think standard core. I think most leagues should be super flex already. Now that when you get into problems when you get 12 team super flex, it gets really tricky because there's a lot of strategy involved. But yeah,
a lot of casual leagues out there. But
we like one quarterback league says we just wait and take guys like Drake May this year and Trevor Lawrence. Those were the guys I took, and Matt Stafford.
Next year, I'm starting a casual fantasy league for my business partner's son. He's 12 or 13. He plays hockey. I told him, get a bunch of guys on your hockey team, some neighbor kids, and I'll run a league for you guys. And then I'm going to beat their brains in.
Hell yeah. Hey, man, they got to learn. You learn more from losses than you do from wins, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the way to go. So, all right. What a great show. Storey, appreciate you. You going to be, let's see, Sunday and Monday. That could be some recap shows if you're available to come on.
Yeah, I think so. I think I like it. Let me double check on Sunday. Monday for wait, am I in town? Travel starts up again soon. No, I'm in town. I'm in town on Monday. So Monday for sure. Sunday is a TBD. I'll do my best.
Cool. Sounds good. Thank you to the chat. Thank you for the couple super chats I got. Appreciate you guys. Jonathan, Jason, GT. You guys
Also,
are awesome.
thank you, GT, for the ego boost as always. Appreciate you.
Yeah, love it. All right, guys. Love your life. Stay positive. Respect each other. Storey. I will talk to you soon. Thank you, chat.
This weekend, guys.
Talk to you guys in this.